Live, it's local. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers.
All right, everybody, welcome in. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers and Orion Sports Medicine. Happy Tuesday, everybody. We are off and rolling. Hope everyone's having a great day. The cicadas are officially out. They've officially stormed our house.
Really?
I opened the garage door today to go to my car, and as it's coming open, just all those little shells just start falling. Now, it's not like they're really taking over, but Nora and I, we've been asking for a while because we keep seeing people post pictures and stuff, and I'm like, I think we're good. We're in the clear. Well, this morning I officially opened the garage door to head to the gym, and sure enough, all the shells started raining down, and so there you go. Look, I find this a little fascinating, to be quite honest with you.
Yuck. We haven't seen any in our neighborhood yet. Everybody's talking about it. It's on the news. A couple
people are eating them.
What?
Oh, no. People are eating them. Like, I don't think they're just, I hope not. I hope they're not just picking them up off the tree or the ground and eating them. But like, there's like all these specials on the news I saw where like there's recipes with these. I'm like, no, how about we just get through these next 6 weeks, get rid of these things and move on with their lives? How about
People
that?
are sick.
How
People
about
are
that?
sick.
Yeah, no, but anything for attention. You know that kid when you're in school that would always eat weird stuff
Mikey.
just for attention? Yeah. So that's exact. Yeah, I mean, exactly. All right, I want to open up with this. So the Green Bay Packers, we're not talking Packers, we're not talking Aaron Rodgers per se, but I am curious for all you NFL fans out there when you have your team. To get a little personal, not too personal here, but more than what's the divorce rate in this country?
Over
like 50%. It's over 50%. So over half of our listeners, if not more, especially coming out of a pandemic where everyone had to spend more time with their significant other. And see, this is how I know Nora and I are going to last. It's true love, because let's just be honest. It's true love. She had to spend every day. We had to spend more time together during this pandemic than at any point throughout our relationship. And she still said yes when I asked her to marry me last September. So I'm telling you, this was just meant to be. But divorce rate, obviously, super, super high in this country, throughout the world, obviously. But I am curious, for those of you who come from broken homes, you know how uncomfortable it could be when you have to pick sides, right? Like it's you don't want to pick sides. You want to try to be neutral. But sometimes that can't always happen. Sometimes you're not always neutral. Sometimes your emotions take you one way or the other, and you have to pick. I feel bad. Like, I was 18 when my parents split, so I didn't have to really go through the whole, going to so-and-so's on the weekend or picking who I wanted to be the primary, who I wanted to actually live with for the majority of the time. It's uncomfortable. And I'm glad. I feel bad for my brothers. My brothers had to go through that. I didn't. I was 18. I was like moving. I, went to college, living it up, in Saline, Ohio for the Lake campus. I mean, I guess that was the coolest thing ever as an 18-year-old, though, for the time being until, But anyways, the point is we all know how tough that is, to go through divorces, whether you've been divorced yourself or whether your parents have been divorced, and you have to do the whole picking sides thing. And you could say that you've done your best to stay in the middle, but we all know that, whether we mean to or not, we some way or another always favor one side or the other. And that's what this Green Bay Packers thing reminds me of. And I'm curious, not really so much from Packers fans, but it's inevitable as players are starting to get more and more leverage in their contracts, especially when it comes to all this guaranteed money, and when it comes to quarterbacks who are starting to get a lot more power and a lot more say, or at least demanding more say. Like, this has been, I did the math today, Kev. Over half the NFL has a new quarterback heading into next season, whether it be through trades, whether it be through free agency, whether it be through the draft. 15 NFL teams all have new quarterbacks heading into next year. And some of these situations, it's quarterback disputes with their front office. Aaron Rodgers is the front page of every sports news outlet out there right now, as everyone's following the divorce between Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Right now, we know the divorce it's happening. Right now, they're just trying to figure out who gets the house, who gets the kids, who gets this, who gets that, and then they're all going to move on. But when you look at this situation, the Deshaun Watson situation in Houston before, of course, the outside storyline became bigger than the initial headline of him versus the front office, and rightfully so. We've all stayed away from that because there's just not enough information to really go off of. But I am curious. Let's say that this happens with, and I won't say the Bengals first because then they'll just think I'm attacking them. Let's say that Baker Mayfield has a run-in with the front office in the Cleveland Browns. Browns fans, we just got done talking about this, how tough, if, when your parents are getting divorced and you have to pick a side. You can't, you want to stay neutral. You want to say, I can see where Baker's coming from, but I could also see where the front. No, we naturally gravitate towards one side or the other. And I'm curious, how are Packers fans feeling today? Like, I don't know. I don't really know. Do you know many Packers fans?
I know one.
You know, one. What's their? I don't know how close you are with this Packers fan affiliate of yours, but are they pro Aaron Rodgers, pro front office, and are they to the point with the front office that they're so mad at the front office that they're questioning their loyalty to the organization? I'm curious.
He's not that far gone questioning loyalty or jumping ship or anything like that, but you know, he has Aaron Rodgers jerseys. He doesn't have GM suits, if you know what I mean. So he's a fan. He became a fan because of Brett Favre. Mm-hmm. And then they transitioned to Aaron Rodgers, and he's been locked in ever since. And, you know, when you come from the Green Bay Packers tree, you know, you got 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. No other franchise can say that. So you got stability at the quarterback position, and Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. So in his opinion, like, it's give him whatever he wants. He just won the MVP. Like, what are we doing? Wasting draft picks on backup quarterbacks. Let's get some wide receivers. Let's get some offensive linemen. Let's get some playmakers. Let's get like somebody that can attack the quarterback. Let's get some linebackers. Like, get players that help right now. Like, forget waiting on next year or the years down the line, because there's only a certain amount of time that Aaron Rodgers has left. So let's give him a ton of weapons while he's still good. That's where he's at with it.
No, that's a good point, and I don't want to get too far off track here, but I'm not taking the Packers organization on this because there's enough bullet points to show that they have not basically followed the path to, you know, lead to basically, you know, good feelings on both sides. But at the same time, I mean, there's a lot of front offices who we think are on the right track, but can't put consistent winners out on the field. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has won every year.
Yeah.
They win every year. They win every year in spite of the fact that they haven't taken an offensive player in the draft since drafting Aaron Rodgers up into the point where they took Jordan Love, where they traded up to grab him. So, you know, and you know, in the first round, people act like, you know, oh, you know, maybe we shouldn't trade up to grab a backup quarterback. To your point, you know, get wide receivers, get an offensive lineman. They have a top 5 graded offensive line every single year. Mm-hmm. They have a top 10 offense every single year. They have a top 10 running game. I went back and looked. Aaron Rodgers, in the long 16 years with the Packers, there's only been 3 years where they have not been in the top 10 in total yards rushing. So I'm always intrigued by, you know, the Packers get painted in this light of not giving him weapons, but I think that they draft towards their need, and their need is really rarely offense. I'm not saying that, you know, you can never have enough offense. Don't get me wrong, especially look at today's NFL where, you know, the Chiefs continue to load up. The Browns just gave Baker every weapon he can imagine. Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, although I don't like the approach, you have to respect the approach of, hey, you know, we're going to gamble all on this offensive line for somehow clicking. But if it does, even remotely, all of a sudden, Joe Burrow has weapons galore and he's never going to complain. So it's one of those situations where I'm not defending the Packers front office, but at the same time, what's Aaron Rodgers mad at? He says in that interview last night on SportsCenter that, you know, it's about the direction, that he feels like they don't have their priorities straight. Well, the only priority I don't feel that the Packers have right now is him. And I can see why that would bother him, but to sit there and say that the Packers don't care about winning, to say that they don't know what they're doing, I think that's completely false. I mean, the Packers have been one of the most well-run organizations for decades now, and it's not as if, Kev, like Aaron Rodgers is on the Lions. Like, I could see if a quarterback was coming out to you know, let's say Joe Burrow came out and put the Bengals on blast for not taking an offensive lineman right away. I could see if Baker Mayfield, which he's not in a position to complain because they've given him everything, but like bad organizations like the Bengals, like the Browns, like the Lions, those are the organizations I expect a quarterback to come out and speak out against. Mm-hmm. And yet those are the organizations where Baker gets drafted, and man, I love Cleveland. I bleed Cleveland. Joe Burrow loves Cincinnati. I saw Jared Goff the other day after being traded to the Lions. He said that this is a great football city and he can't wait to be a part of it. This is a guy coming from LA. And I'm like, you guys are enablers. You are not putting these franchises on blast enough. Not that I'm saying you should come in and just destroy it, but you know what I mean? Like, it's amazing to me how quarterbacks can say all the right things about bad organizations, but you have a very, very good organization in the Packers. And there's Aaron Rodgers talking as if he is Matt Stafford in Detroit. He's talking as if, you know, he was basically any Browns quarterback over the last 20 years since returning to Cleveland before Baker Mayfield. So that's why I don't sympathize with Aaron Rodgers that much, because all you had to do is you had 3 plays to run it into the end zone, and you're playing in the Super Bowl. So I don't understand this, why everyone is taking the side of Aaron Rodgers in this particular case. I'm not a big Packers organization fan, but when you sit back and actually look at it, He has he's a 1,000-yard rusher. He has one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver in football. He has one of the best offensive lines in football, one of the best defenses in football. What else do you want? So now you're nitpicking because, you didn't give me a weapon in the first round. Well, why does it matter? If they're giving you weapons, if they have good draft evaluators, why are you complaining? This is where I have a hard time taking his side because I naturally want to, but then when I sit back and look at the big picture, I'm like, the only times that they've struggled since him arriving in Green Bay, Kev, has been either A, when he's been injured, or B, there was a 2-3 year stretch about 2 or 3 years ago where he was declining. He was throwing a ton of interceptions. He did not have a lot of velocity on the ball. He was not, himself. Those stretches were on him. Those stretches weren't on the organization because they still had weapons. So that's where I'm having a hard time taking his side on this. I know I'm always anti-player. I'm not meaning to be anti-player here, but when you look at it, by the way, Deshaun Watson and the Texans, he has a reason to want out. They're taking all his good players and trading them out left and right. And the Packers are continuing to load you up with offensive linemen, with running backs, with wide receivers. They may not be first rounders, but to me that says more about the organization that they're able to build Super Bowl contenders without first round caliber offensive talent than with. So I just don't get it. I think
it's as simple as this. He just don't like the management. He don't like who he's working for.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure tons of our listeners out there have felt that same situation about places that they work. They may love their coworkers. They may love the job that they do, but they just don't get along with management. And that seems to be the case with Aaron Rodgers. He's not vibing with the GM for whatever reason. Like he was talking about in an interview with Kenny Mayne, he was saying it is not necessarily about Jordan Love. It is not Jordan Love, the person. Is the Jordan Love pick.
Mm-hmm.
Is the simple fact that, all right, we're trying to win now. Why will we be using a first round pick for the future if we're trying to win now? So I think that's where he's at with it. And I think it's back to what we were talking about when the regular season first ended and we started hearing all this stuff about Russell Wilson and everything like that. And the first thing that came out of my mouth is there's obviously a lack of communication going on here. There's one sides that aren't listening to each other. And that seems to be the exact same thing that's going on with Green Bay. Neither Aaron Rodgers nor the Green Bay GM is listening to each other because according to everything that's coming out about Aaron Rodgers' situation, the Green Bay Packers jumped up and drafted Jordan Love without letting him know. Now, I know we can go back and forth, but why should they let him know? He's just an employee and everything like that. But the simple fact of communicating to a guy who is a Hall of Fame quarterback and is the sole reason or one of the main cogs why you're a good franchise right now. And if you know that you have an extra sensitive guy, which Aaron Rodgers appears to be, then you manage the situation. You manage it. That's why you're called a general manager. You manage everything. You manage the whole ship. So, so like, that's why I'm at the GM's neck like that. That's why I'm looking at him with the side eye. Like he's not managing the situation. He's just like, well, he's just a cog in the wheel. We're the Green Bay Packers. Nah, it's not that simple because people across the NFL, every franchise in the NFL would love to have a quarterback of Aaron Rodgers' caliber for him to play as well as he played, as long as he's played, because we see it year after year. That's why we have the San Francisco 49ers jumping up to grab Trey Lance. That's why we have guys getting reached on in the first round, like a Mac Jones and everything like that. Like they're just, hey, it don't work out with Sam Darnold 3 years later. All right, we're going to draft another guy. They're trying to find a guy that can lead their franchise and be somebody stable at that position. So when you treat a guy that you do have that's next level and you just treat him like a punter, basically, then that's what loses trust. That's how you lose trust from your head guy and Aaron Rodgers. And then that has a trickle down effect to the rest of the team.
Yeah. And keep in mind, the other reason I have a hard time taking Aaron Rodgers' side with this too. And by the way, you were completely right because it does come down to communication. Like it's one thing. By the way, them taking Jordan Love, I have no issue with that. None.
I have no problem with it either.
16 years in the league. Aaron Rodgers, 16 years in the league. They should be thinking, I mean, the Steelers, They have a Dwayne Haskins guy who couldn't even make it through his rookie contract. You have Mason Rudolph, who let's just stop. I mean, the only time that he's been in the headlines that was worth anything was when he had a helmet swung at his head by an opposing team in the Cleveland Browns. And what I mean by that, like, the Steelers should have been doing what the Packers have done, thinking about, okay, what's next? Because you move up and you draft a project doesn't mean that project is going to be your quarterback within the next 365 days. The Packers were thinking the Packers did nothing wrong by trading up and selecting Jordan Love, even though I think that the pick, it's the talent itself is what I think a lot of people are questioning. But it's the fact that he, after as long as he has been with the organization, especially with the way he took over, keep in mind, I mean, he did kind of sit back. He had to sit for a few years before he even got his opportunity to start because of Brett Favre.
And rightfully so.
And they should have, but to your point, they should have communicated. They should have talked to him. Hey, don't be, we're trading up. We feel really good about this opportunity. Our scouts really like him. We're going to move up and take him. Don't worry, you're not competing for your job this year. This isn't us pushing you out, but we think that this is an opportunity too good to pass up. We didn't think he was going to drop back this far. Whatever it is. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers at that point didn't have to like it, but it's their organization. But that's the only thing they did not do right was not communicate with him, because
especially
outside
with
of
a guy
that,
that's so sensitive, and everything that we know about Aaron Rodgers, he's uber sensitive, and he has an ego and all these things that you can find on Google about how he treats his parents and everything like that. You can find all that stuff out on your own. Look, man, manage the situation. If you know this guy has an ego, but he's that good, you manage the situation. You hit him up and like, look, this is the plan going forward. We wanted to let you know. And if he flies off the deep end, you always have it in your back pocket to leak out to the media, or just to say to your fan base, like, look, man, we told him the plan. This is the plan going forward. We want him to be a part of the organization, but we felt like player X, who turned out to be Jordan Love, was too good to pass up. We feel like he can be our next franchise quarterback. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. And I think, I make it sound so easy because, I'm on the outside looking in, but I know there's tons of people out there listening that are in management positions who dread having to talk to the people that, quote unquote, are under them, because it's a difficult conversation. Conversations like that are difficult, but you know what? You're in a management position in the NFL, making billions of dollars for an organization, millions probably as the GM. That's why you get paid. That's what your job is, to manage the situation and massage the ego of this Hall of Fame quarterback. You sit him down, you sit his agent down with the quarterback, with the GM, the head coach, and you said, Aaron, we love you. We want you to be a part of this organization for the foreseeable future, but this was our plan. And if he bucks at the system, oh, well, but you did your part.
Yeah, and I think there's frustration on their part, too, because they feel, hey, so you're nitpicking so we have Pro Bowl talent all around you, but because we didn't select that Pro Bowl talent in the first round, that's what you're mad at. That's where I become Team Packers at that point. Mm-hmm. That's where I'm like, why does it matter? So, when he says, oh, they haven't been building around me properly. What are you talking about? First round picks become very important for a lot of teams because they're not very good at, trying to pick out talent later in the draft. The Packers are very good at that, and they make a lot of home run hits in the first round too on the defensive side of the ball. But the bottom line is that the Packers have always taken his side. They've always given him weapons. He's always had a good run game. He's always had a great offensive line. They've always had a solid defense, and they've always been competitive in what has always been a very competitive division, mainly because of them. So, and then also let's not forget Mike McCarthy, Super Bowl winning head coach. Whose side did they take? They took Aaron Rodgers' side, and they went so far to take Aaron Rodgers' side that they hired, this 20-year-old coach in Coach LaFleur, who's, because why? Because he was going to fit every need of Aaron Rodgers, and LaFleur has come in and bowed down to every need of Aaron Rodgers. It's not even bowing down. It's just that he has an offensive scheme that matches perfectly with his talent, and it was the best of both worlds. He just won an MVP. How does the MVP of a team that was 3 plays away from getting to a Super Bowl, how can you sit there and say this team is not going in the right direction? Well, the direction you needed to go in was straight. If you would have ran straight into the end zone, you would not have put the coach in position to call the field goal unit to come out. That's kind of how I view
where
it.
I'm at with Aaron Rodgers is where I would look at him with this thank God. If I'm, a guy that's on the practice squad, if I'm just a rookie that got drafted in the 5th round and everything like that, you going on ESPN saying they haven't drafted well around me and got me the necessary pieces. Like, what am I, chopped liver? Mm-hmm. So those are the type of things that I would be worried about if I'm Aaron Rodgers. Like, how am I going to smooth this over with the 53 guys in the locker room? everything's not going to be kumbaya. Everybody's not going to hold hands, especially with management, because, management is management. Management looks out for the bottom line of the company and everything like that. And for lack of a better word, Aaron Rodgers is a worker. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's the best worker. He's the most important worker for sure. He's the lead sales guy. But at the end of the day, he's a worker. And you still have to go to work with your other coworkers and your teammates. And more importantly, offensive linemen who protect you. You know what I'm saying? Running backs to pick up the blitz, wide receivers that run slant routes and go across the middle and get blasted by linebackers. You have to work with all those guys. So going on ESPN saying those type of things, I think that's more of something to worry about than anything else, because I do believe, well, we'll get to that later, but if Aaron Rodgers is back with the Green Bay Packers, that is something that he's going to have to work out with the teammates inside the locker room. The stuff with the management, he ain't got to like him. They ain't got to like each other. Long as Aaron Rodgers performs on the field and long as the Green Bay Packers cut the check, they'll be perfectly fine. But the guys that he does have to get along with are the guys in the locker room. And going on ESPN saying that yesterday, I think that's a bad look for Aaron Rodgers.
I agree. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers and Orion Sports Medicine. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. Head to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show, like and subscribe to the page there. You can watch the show live. Your comments in the chat section we will then bring into the show. Your little Facebook profile will be displayed for everyone to see, as well as your comments. We'll read your comments and interact with you that way. We've had a ton of fun doing that over this past year with some of the changes we made, and we're keeping it up. You can also find us on YouTube, ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. Search ESPN Dayton on YouTube. Subscribe. That's another way you can watch the show live. Listen, stream, and now watch. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash hanging out with you here on a Tuesday. We'll step away for a few moments with all that talk about Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. It got me to thinking, what if this was a mirrored situation in Cincinnati? What if this was a mirrored situation in Cleveland? Browns fans, whose side would you take? Would you be pro Baker Mayfield or pro Browns organization? Who would you defend? Bengals fans, I have an idea where the Browns loyalty would fall. I'm really confused as to where the Bengals, because the Bengals fans are drooling over Joe Burrow, but yet you have continued to convince yourself that the Bengals will get it right somehow, some way. And maybe Joe Burrow is a product of that. Joe Burrow, they get Joe Burrow, and you think that, they made the right decision. Well, it's easy to make the right decision when you had the number one overall pick and he was the best available player there. It just made a lot of sense. But I'm curious, the Bengals organization, Bengals fans, you continue to forgive him over and over and over. But if they screwed this up with Joe Burrow, the way the Packers and Aaron Rodgers relationship is all shifty, whose side would you take? I said shifty. Browns fans, same thing with Baker Mayfield in the organization. What happens when things turn sour? Right now, everything's all hunky-dory. They gave Baker everything he wanted. Joe Burrow wanted Jamar Chase in Cincinnati. They picked him over Penei Sewell. In fact, they continued to give him weapons before really making the offensive line a priority. What if Joe Burrow, who just walked into OTAs today with the gigantic knee brace on, he went in looking like Stone Cold Steve Austin walking into OTAs today. That's the last time I saw a brace that big on someone's leg. I just didn't hear the crash, breaking of the glass and the Stone Cold music in the background. But what happens if he has another season-ending injury next year and Joe Burrow comes out and he's frustrated with the front office? Are you Bengals fans going to take his side, or are you going to take the front office's side? Are you going to be hypocrites for all you Bengals fans who wanted the wide receiver, or are you going to take the Bengals front office side and say they made the right choice? I'm just curious, because I can't imagine what it's like being a Packers fan right now. You want to be loyal to your team, but you're watching your franchise literally on the verge of being traded away. So I'm curious, how would you react if your team was in the situation that the Packers are? We'll discuss that on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere. Actually, Johnny Ritchie, great point on Facebook. Already went through it with Palmer. Most took the Bengals side. Will you take the Bengals side again if it replays itself with Joe Burrow? I'm wondering how many more of those taking the Bengals sides do you guys have left in you? We'll discuss next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 90. Tonight's also going to be partly cloudy, a low near 68. And tomorrow is going to be mostly cloudy with showers and thunderstorms, a high near 82. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's Small Business Month, and Dell Technologies and Windows are celebrating your unstoppable drive. Save up to 45% on powerful PCs with Windows 10 Pro to work from anywhere. Plus top monitors and docks for the ultimate business setup. All with easy financing financing options through Dell Financial Services. Speak to a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find the right business tech, server, storage, and cloud solutions at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL for Small Business Month savings.
Hoffman Turf wants to enhance your property. Hoffman Turf, a locally owned company in Beaver Creek, offers professional lawn care, landscape maintenance, and weed and pest control. We understand your lawn is your investment and strive to give you the most value for your hard-earned money. Let us help you achieve a beautiful, thick, green lawn. Sign up today for fertilization and weed control and save 50% off the first application and 5% off the entire season when you prepay. Schedule today online at hoffmanturf.com. Hoffman Turf, professional, dependable, affordable.
I can't take this
I have
anymore.
nowhere to go. I lost my job.
I feel alone.
Crisis Text Line is here to help day or night. Text 4HOPE to 741-741 for free and confidential support. Text with a trained volunteer to move from that hot moment to a cool calm.
Need a U.S. passport? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Visit one of our convenient auto title locations in Huber Heights, Clayton, downtown, Moraine, and Centerville. Make us your first destination before you travel abroad. No appointments ever needed. We do passports.com for more info.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Because it's my vision, I take the most studied eye vitamin brand.
Because it's my vision, I take the eye vitamin brand backed by 20 years of research.
Because it's my vision, I take PreserVision.
Age-related macular degeneration is the leading cause of vision loss in adults over 60. That's why the National Eye Institute did 20 years of clinical studies on the formula that's found in PreserVision. From the eye experts at Bausch & Lomb, PreserVision AREDS 2 formula eye vitamins contain the exact nutrient formula recommended by the National Eye Institute to help reduce the risk of moderate to advanced AMD progression.
Because it's my vision, I made a plan with my doctor that includes PreserVision. Find PreserVision in the vitamin aisle. Available at Walmart.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Now at Menards, save big money in your next project with 11% off everything. Keep your lawn lush and green this summer with Midwest Master Grass Seed. The premium blend contains high-performing ryegrasses and bluegrasses designed to integrate well in the Midwest. In full sun to light shade, all 11% off. Now at Menards. Good through May 31st. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage and Rocket Companies. Last year, we saw historically low mortgage interest rates. What you may not know is that interest rates are already starting to increase, and it's likely that trend is only going to continue. Our team of experts is standing by to help you save before rates go up. Don't look back and wish that you had taken action. Call 833-8ROCKET or visit rocketmortgage.com.
Rocket. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Panera favorites are hot and ready to serve for dinner. Taste our creamy mac and cheese served in a crispy bread bowl. Or the classic bacon turkey Bravo featuring our signature sauce. How about our new mouth-watering Chipotle chicken and bacon flatbread pizza? These and other favorites are waiting for you. Order dinner tonight for delivery or pickup. Only at Panera. Availability and pricing may vary.
In a world full of things you never thought possible, here's one more. Now you can get high-quality auto insurance from Allstate at a new low rate. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzz driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. How I know? You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You could kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says I'm a catch more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
It's been one of them days. We are back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers and Orion Sports Medicine. We're bringing back Kev Nash's over-under coming up here, top of the hour, 4 o'clock. A little bit of Reds baseball mixed with some NBA playoffs with some Browns and some Bengals and Buckeyes and all that fun stuff. So Kev Nash brings you our over-under coming up here 29 minutes from now, top of the hour. Again, Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on a Tuesday. A lot to dive into. We opened up, of course, with, really – yes, it's the Packers. Yes, it's Aaron Rodgers, but these are issues that are popping up all over the NFL. This isn't just an isolated incident in Green Bay as far as the power struggle between where Aaron Rodgers wants the Packers to go and where the Packers want to go. You can make a list of why the Packers are on the right, and you can make some bullet points of why they're in the wrong, and you could do the same thing with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, all the bullet points on his column of what he does right is his performance on the field. He's done his part, but I think anyone is a fool if you think that the Packers haven't done theirs. Now, with that being said, me and you are on the same page exactly when it comes to this. Really comes down to communication, and this just isn't a football thing. This is in our everyday line of work. Mm-hmm. And let's be clear, in our line of work, and I hear this all the time, when you're fired in radio, and this may not just be a radio thing, this could be all aspects of life in general, but when you're fired in radio, you've been fired for a few months.
Yeah,
you just don't know.
Yep.
There is no communication. Our bosses aren't coming down and saying, "Hey, man, we just so you know, we really like this other radio host in Denver. He sent in his application. We really like his air check. You're good. We appreciate everything you've done. We're just letting you know that we might bring him in for an interview, but don't worry, don't be concerned." We'll be concerned. We'll be angry. You know what I mean? Trust me. When we say Aaron Rodgers is a sensitive individual, we're all sensitive. We all are paranoid at our job. Media people are the most paranoid people you'll ever meet in your life because no matter how good you are at your job, you are trust me. If you look at our comment section on social social media, you think, man, Kinner has a lot of enemies. No one has said anything meaner to me than what I tell myself at the end of every show, at the end of every day. And that's anyone that works in media. That's just the reality of it. So people need to step their game up. You're going to have to be better. You're going to have to be more mean to me than I am to me for you to really get something to stick. I'm just letting you guys know now. But in all seriousness, when it comes down to this about, so it's hard for me in the business I work in to sit here and say, well, they need to communicate with them, but we don't work in, we work in radio. We work in communications, but we're the worst communicators ever. So that's just how it goes. So, but yes, the Packers, this isn't some random offensive lineman that's having issues with lack of communication. I don't, but I do believe Aaron Rodgers, I believe the star quarterback, the franchise quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks, one of the best football players ever. That's a much different circumstance. So I am on that side of, yes, they should have communicated with them. And it wasn't even a bad thing. Hey, Aaron, just so you know, we're going to draft Jordan Love. We're going to trade up. We didn't expect him to fall back this far. We just think this is a good opportunity. We're never going to be in a position to get a first-round caliber talent like this that was supposed to maybe go higher. We just want to take advantage of this. We're not pushing you out. We're not doing any of that. We're just trying to capitalize on this. We think it'd be good for him to get a couple years behind you as, of course, you're 16 years in the league. Whatever. He doesn't have to like it, but the front office at least laid out their side of it. But now, and I always say this too, and I say this about, I reach out to universities around here, to Ohio State, the pro teams, everything. We just try to get an idea of what's going on. Hey, rather than speculate and say, hey, I think this is happening, or I think this is going to happen, do you want to shed some light on this situation so that maybe, just maybe because I always say, if you try to block us out, and you don't want to give us details, nothing is worse than the details that we think is going on. Sometimes what we think is going on is way worse than what's actually going on. So wouldn't you just rather maybe, kind of put it to bed a little bit or put it to rest? I think that sometimes the PR for a lot of universities and their athletic departments, they do a horrible job because they allow the story to get away from what's actually going on instead of just nipping it in the bud right off the bat. But of course, there's always legal stuff on the back end. I get that. I don't want to go off on a soapbox on that. So I want to bring it back home a little bit. These stories are always interesting. The Houston Texans and Deshaun Watson, watching what's going on there. And imagine how excited Texans fans were a few years ago. They drafted Deshaun Watson. You're excited about it. Great college quarterback. But they didn't know they were about to embark on a potential top 5 NFL quarterback in the league, right? And then they have him. And then it's like, okay, man, you have him and Hopkins goes. You have J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt's gone. They have all this talent, Jadeveon Clowney, he gone. All these big-time star players, whether it be on the defense or offensive side of the ball, more talent was leaving Houston than coming in. And as a Texans fan, I would be furious. I'd be like, what are you doing? Teams around the league killed to get a quarterback so they could feel secure enough to make these big additions to the roster. You get your quarterback, a steal, by the way, because so many teams passed on them, including the including the Bengals, including a lot of teams, the Browns, that needed a quarterback. And you're letting guys go. You're not trying to capitalize on this. You made him the second highest paid quarterback in the history of the league, and you didn't capitalize on his rookie contract. Like, that's the problem. Got to give credit to the Browns, and you got to give credit to the Bengals. And I'm not one that's ever quick, to step up to give credit to the Bengals, but you could feel the energy an hour's, north from Cincinnati. You could feel the energy there. There's excitement. There's a buzz. OTAs. I was making fun of Bengals fans today. Shocker. It was a video of him walking into camp, and everyone's losing their mind. Like, thousands of retweets. People are like, oh, let's go, baby. I'm like, he's walking. He is walking. That's all he's doing. He's walking into practice. My goodness. But that's the buzz that is coming out of Cincinnati right now. So they're doing something right. There's no buzz in Houston. There's no buzz in Green Bay right now. Everyone's walking on eggshells. So as much as I like to nitpick the Cincinnati Bengals, they're doing something right because the fans are excited. The front office is excited. They feel like they're onto something. Talk to me into week 3, but until then, I'll let them enjoy it. Now, with that being said, what happens with all this excitement that Houston felt when they got Deshaun Watson, and now look at where they're at? Look at all the excitement in Green Bay, the Super Bowl, the playoff success, the division championships, all that come with it. Imagine what those fans are feeling now. They're feeling deflated. They feel no sense of purpose this offseason. They feel no sense of purpose heading into next regular season because it's just they're embarking on a potential rebuild. Bengals fans, as exciting as this is, how are you going to feel here in a year or two if things go south, which there's a good chance they could because it is Cincinnati. Don't get mad at me. It's just the reality of it. I'm waiting for the whole house to come crumbling in on the Cleveland Browns. It's just a matter of time because they're the Browns and you're the Bengals, and that's what these two franchises do. They destruct from the inside out. That you don't build from the inside out, obviously, but you destruct from the inside out. Bengals fans, what are you going to do? You've been through this recently. I'm glad that who was it that brought it up? Johnny Ritchie on Facebook earlier said we already went through it with Palmer. Most took the Bengals side. So I'm throwing out the question again, Bengals fans. If this happens in Cincinnati, if Joe Burrow becomes frustrated with the front office and threatens to sit out or sits out or demands a trade or these cryptic messages or goes on SportsCenter and continues to put his team in a bad situation, whose side are you taking? How many more years of mistakes do you have to witness the Bengals make before you say, maybe it's not everybody else? Maybe it's not Carson Palmer. Maybe it's not all the players that continue to go to the media and continue to trash them for using used jock straps and not having an indoor facility and everything else that comes with, criticizing that organization. At some point, you have to ask yourself, is it them or is it us? Carlos Dunlap, everything that he said about the organization, you chalked it up to a disgruntled employee on the way out the door. Well, that's how all these guys are, and some of them end up being really happy elsewhere. So I've just got to ask, if this happens with Joe Burrow, whose side are you taking? Whose side are you taking? If there's a Browns fan, same thing, Baker Mayfield. Things are great right now. We're heading into a season where you're a top 3 team in the AFC North. There's a good shot this team could contend for an AFC North championship and a potential Super Bowl. That's how good this roster is. What happens a year from now, 2 years from now, when all the money starts going to pay these, rookie contracts, and then you don't have enough to load up this roster and you start losing, or maybe Baker regresses and takes a step back, and then, then he starts blaming the front office, and there's a rift that ends up happening. Who is it? The Browns being the Browns? The Browns is the Browns again, or is it, oh man, the Browns didn't do good by Baker Mayfield? I'm telling you now, it would be 1,000,000% on Baker Mayfield at this point, because there's not an organization out there that has cared more about their quarterback than the Cleveland Browns. 2 great tight ends, 2 great running backs, 3 of the top receivers in the league, great offensive line. They have done everything, absolutely everything. But at some point, it's going to come to a head, right? That's how it is in the NFL nowadays. I'm just curious. And we're about to see with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. It's a matter of time, because if he doesn't feel like they're treating him with enough respect, we could be seeing the same thing going on there.
It always comes to a head, and that's what makes the NFL the biggest show in town, because it's a salary cap, and everybody knows this. It's a team sport. But we as fans in sports media, we try to dumb it down to make it all about one person. Mm-hmm. This ain't basketball, man. One dude can't lead you to the playoffs. One dude can't carry you to the championship game. It is a team situation. And no matter how many guys that you got that catch the ball, run the ball, if you can't protect up front, you're not going to get it done. It don't matter how high of a flying offense you got, like the Dallas Cowboys. If you can't stop nobody, you're not winning no Super Bowl. So it's the ultimate team sport. And we just look at the quarterback and say, all right, man, make it happen. We gave you enough. Well, dang, yeah, you gave me all these guys on offense, but dang, we got to score 40 a game? We got a Big 12 it out here? We shouldn't have to Big 12 it in the NFL. So it's a give and take. It's a pull situation. If I'm thinking about the Browns, and if we go like with this scenario that you were talking about, if the Browns, win the AFC North and they make a run to the AFC Championship game, and then now they have to pay the piper. They got to start coughing up the big bucks, and then all right, they went from the AFC Championship game, potentially going to the Super Bowl, to taking a quote unquote step back. And Baker Mayfield starts talking about the Browns organization. Has this part of the Browns organization, has this new regime done enough for the fan base to say we're taking the organization side? Would you think that, or would you be on the quarterback that has led you to these wins, the only quarterback in the last 20 plus years to actually come through on the promise of making it back to the playoffs and winning postseason games? So that's where the divide would come. That's what it would be, split down the middle, because that's where people will be like, hey, man, Andrew Berry and this head coaching staff, these guys are the reason why. No, it's Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's the reason why. They didn't even draft Baker. Baker was from the last regime, and he's still stuck in there, and he had X amount of different offensive coordinators, and he still played good football. He's the reason why. He's the guy that got us these wins in the playoffs. So that's where the divide's going to happen.
And you're right. I mean, that's where this is heading. And someone brought up a good point in the chat section. Again, we're live on Facebook, Justin Kinner Show on Facebook, live on YouTube, ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. Mike says Cleveland would turn on Baker like they did on LeBron. Cavaliers never gave LeBron weapons either. That's a great point. When LeBron left Cleveland, I was one of the few people that was not angry at LeBron when he left Cleveland, and I've never been a diehard any particular team fan. I guess the Lakers, but that's an easy team to gravitate towards if you're a neutral NBA fan. Like I'm a fan of the players. Like I watch Pelicans games because of Zion, but when he ends up in LA, all my allegiance will go to LA, right? Like that's just how it works. But I was growing up a diehard Cavaliers fan. I actually bought Cavaliers jerseys because I was a big Ricky Davis fan. No, I'm just joking. I was, LeBron going to Cleveland. I was, coming out of high school and everything. Like Cleveland was the team. If you were in Ohio for the first time, you felt that sense of unified pride for a team in the state of Ohio, basketball, NBA, blah, blah, blah. I was angry, especially towards that back end. I was ticked off every offseason, every trade deadline. They go get, they got McGinnis one year. That was the big addition at the trade deadline. I'm like, what? Really? That's what you got Eric Snow. You started adding all these old pieces. And I was just like, what is this front office doing? They are literally trying to force LeBron to get out of here because they didn't think, they took advantage of the fact that they thought that he was, he's an Ohio guy. He's not going to go anywhere. That's why I'm seeing these people in the comment section saying Joe Burrow, Doug Toby says, Burrow's a Midwest boy. He's not a California boy like Palmer and Rodgers and Winders, blah, blah. That doesn't matter where you're from. If you feel disrespected by your team, it don't matter if you're from New York, Ohio, California, Dubai. It doesn't care where you're from. You feel disrespected, you're going to want out. So I thought for sure fans would be mad at the Cavaliers. Dan Gilbert, you'd be mad at no. People burn LeBron's jersey. LeBron had every right to leave. They continue to give him old age player after old age player. You had the Boston's big three, and how did they counter it? They gave him an 80-year-old Shaquille O'Neal. They gave him an 80-year-old Ben Wallace. Shout out to Ben Wallace, by the way, Hall of Fame nod, but that's a conversation for later. So you know what I mean? Like, that's a great example. I'm so glad Mike brought that up because it's true. We've already seen it. We know that the fans will always turn on the player. They're always going to stay loyal to the franchise, as crazy as that sounds. So there's that. Right or wrong?
Yeah, you're right. That's what fans do. We're loyal to the team colors and where they're from, what I'm saying, everything like that, because we're from Ohio. We're going to root for Ohio State regardless of what happens. Who's the coach? We're going to be mad at the coach, but we ain't going to turn our back on the school, on the football program. We're going to stay down, and when we come back up, we'll be happy. And that's how fans are with the pro franchises as well. That would be tough. That would be tough, man. Because
which fan bases do you think hold their teams more accountable? College fan bases or pro? For instance, that year that Fickle took over, and again, it wasn't Fickle's fault. Fickle was a Band-Aid for the transition between Tressel and Urban Meyer, of course. But we knew that was going to be a rough year, obviously. I'm just curious, in that situation, if you had 4 or 5 straight years of what that year was with, Fickle, whether it's his fault or not, I feel like fans would be irate. Fans would not put up with it. I feel like that. I think that fans do a better job holding their colleges accountable for success or lack thereof, more so than teams. Bengals fans drool over the Bengals year after year after they screw up. Browns fans, I think we mistake stupidity with loyalty. Like I've said it before. If I go to a brand new restaurant that opens up and the customer service is bad and the food is crap, I'm not coming back.
Right.
But with our sports, we don't care if the food is spoiled. We don't care if the customer service is bad. We don't care if there's never any parking. We don't care if there's a 2-hour wait. We don't care about any of that. We are enablers. We continue to allow these bad business owners. Mike Brown is a horrible business owner. Don't care. You look at the Haslams of Cleveland. They're on a couple years stretch. Like people think I'm not being a hypocrite here. The Browns are still a horrible organization. They are still a horrible organization. You know how much winning they're going to have to do. They're going to have to be able to get through a couple draft classes of re-upping contracts and getting free agents to come in and free agents going out. How do they fill those gaps? That's where I'm at when it comes to the Browns. I haven't seen enough to trust that they've turned it around or figured it out. So that's what I mean. If I go to a local business, brand new, just opened up, customer service is bad, food is bad, horrible parking, just not, it's not very clean, I'm not coming back. But with our sports, we'll come back no matter how bad the food is. We'll come back no matter how bad the customer service is. And I just don't understand that. We are to blame. We could blame Mike Brown. We could blame the Haslams. We could blame, the Cavaliers and Dan Gilbert. But we are to blame. We are to blame because we keep coming back and we
Right.
keep thinking that the customer service with the same hostess is just going to figure it out one day and be nice. We keep thinking that the same chef or, cooking the same bland food is all of a sudden going to be more seasoned one day when we go. We think that the parking is just magically going to appear in front of this restaurant that has never been there before. But we keep coming back. And that's the thing. We are to blame for why these teams remain bad because there's never any accountability. Sure, we might not go to a game here and there, but overall, we're to blame. We're always to blame. Just saying.
To answer your other question, I think as college holds their teams more accountable. I mean, we got coaches in college football that get fired and they get their contract bought out. So they get paid on the back end and then go get another job and they're getting paid on the front end. It's guys coaching teams getting paid for their other school and getting paid for the school that they're coaching at right now, which is insanity that you would pay somebody to go away. and that's how the fan bases are. I mean, you got to think about it. Like, look at, and I know everybody looks at Alabama right now and like, oh, look at all the winning they're doing right now. But there is after I want to say the year, that last championship they won before this current run they're going on, like I want to say like 95-ish, I think, and they beat. It was probably even before that. I want to say 93. They beat Miami in the Sugar Bowl. And that was the Gene Stallings era and everything like that. But, they had Mike Shula there for like a hot second and they were trash. Nobody was thinking about Alabama. They were in the dumpster. They were done for. And obviously they made a major comeback and winning a lot of championships right now. But also Oklahoma football. Before Stoops came there and like I want to say like 98, they were terrible. For during the 90s. Like, so these college programs, like now that they're winning games and winning a ton of championships, they're not going to stand for that. They're not going to stand for that. The fan base isn't going to stand for that. More importantly, the guys cutting the checks to boosters, they're not going to stand for that. So I don't see a situation where, how you can have peaks and valleys and teams can come up out of nowhere. I don't see Bama going nowhere for a long time. I surely don't see Ohio State going anywhere for a long time. So for all those other teams out there trying to claw their way back to relevancy in the Big Ten and the SEC and everything like that, man, you got your work cut out for you because the second that they see some slippage, the boosters are going to do something about it. They're going to find a way to get rid of that coach. They're going to cut the check and they're going to find another coach. And if that coach don't do it, they'll cut another check and find another coach. So yeah, the boosters, the guys that cut the checks, the real money makers, the real money players, if they don't like it, they'll get you up out the paint.
Brian McCoy, he says, hey, Chef Ramsey, how many straight losing Brown seasons have you been through? But they still are your team. No, I get that, Brian. You could still, but like this is where I get into it with people about, with fans about, like we as fans think that we can't criticize our teams. Like if you criticize your team, you're a hater. And I think that's the dumbest take in the history of sports. From the first, I don't know what the first sport ever was. I don't know what the first competitive game ever was. I mean, for your life, I have no clue. I don't know how, the first fraction. That's a good. What was the first sport ever? What was the very first? I mean, it could have been cards. It could have been, I don't know, dodgeball with rocks. I'm not really sure. I guess that was called being, I don't know. I'm not really sure what the first sporting event ever was. Gladiators and all that stuff. I have no clue.
Wrestling.
Oh.
According to the Googles, wrestling is considered the oldest sport in the world.
No, the sport's fake. Well, with the real wrestling though, right?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Okay.
Wrestling to the death.
So yeah, no kidding. My whole point about so to go back to Brian's point when he said, hey, Chef Ramsey, how many straight losing Brown seasons have you been through? They're still your team. They are still your team. But I believe fans need to unite a little bit more in holding their teams accountable. I mean, instead of fans saying, hey, Joe Burrow only has one leg, maybe we should get him an offensive line instead of receiver. I question the intelligence of fans in doing what's best for an organization. That's all.
Yeah, there's multiple ways to hold your team accountable. The main way you can hold them accountable is not giving them your money, not buying a new jersey every year. You can still watch your team on the weekend and everything like that, but if they're a bad product, you don't have to evolve your whole weekend around it. You don't have to just sit there on the couch at 1:00 kickoff and watch your team get their face beat in. You can say, you know what? Hey, man, they're playing Tampa. I know we're losing this game. There's no point of watching this game, and go enjoy a day with your family. But like if they're playing another team that, all right, man, I think we can beat the Jets, I'll watch that. Like you can do that. Like don't let these teams hold your life for hostage and captivate you and keep you there if they're not giving you anything in return besides pain and hardship. Just don't watch. Like I got plenty of teams. Like when the Cleveland baseball team was terrible, I wasn't checking in. I checked the box score, see if we won. If we won, yay. If we lost, all right, keep it moving. They're not winning. They're not winning enough for me to invest my time like that. That don't mean you're not a fan. You can still be a fan, but you got to give me a reason why. I got plenty of options out here.
Yeah, that's my whole point about all this too. Is like, I mean, you know how many business owners out there would kill like if I owned a business, I would pray that whatever business I would open up, that my customers were as stupid as sports fans. I'm not joking. Like we act like winning and losing is the end all be all, but it's not, because until owners get their team taken away from them for losing, winning and losing is not the end all be all. It's just not. Like it is not. So if I ever owned a business, I would pray that my customers were as dumb as sports fans, because sports fans are the dumbest people out there. We're not you. I'm not separating myself from you. We're all dumb. We all put up with the dumbest thing. I'm a Reds fan. Every year we sit here and I try to defend average talent and try to tell people why we're pretty good with them. We're not. The Reds aren't good. Until the Reds start doing what all the other good teams do, we're just sitting here wasting our time. I'm a dumb sports fan just like all of our listeners are, and that sounds a little harsh, but we're all dumb together, because what I mean by that is we sit there and we continue to punish ourselves over and over with the hope of it getting better. So, Brian, I know what you're trying to say and coming at me like that, but all I'm saying is you would not continue to go to a bad restaurant. Why do you continue to follow a bad team? Now, you could still say, man, I really like that I like that restaurant chain, but until they change their chicken or until they change their cheese or their salsa or whatever it is, until they change this, I'm not going back. And you won't go back until they get the nicer hostess at the front who's not rude. All of that. Until all of that's fixed, you're not going back. But yet we continue to do that with our sports fans. So that's all. But no, Brian, I agree. And by the way, to answer your question, Brian, because everyone knows I just became a Browns fan recently. I'm a hypocrite. It's fine. I have no problem admitting it. Brian, I've only had to suffer one losing season with the Cleveland. Oh, no, two. The first season with Baker, but it felt so freaking cool because they went from 0-16 to winning 7 games, and then they won less games the year after that. That became kind of tough. But then last year, baby, I pretended to blend in with all the Browns fans who were shuffling. We'll be back.
Shame on you.
Hour 2, shout out to Brian. You're the best, man. Hour number 2 coming up, the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers and Orion Sports Medicine. Brian says, just spicing up the conversation. No pun. Oh, damn it. You said no pun. I was going to be spicing up the conversation. I see what you did there. But anyways. All right. Hour 2 coming up. Let's do a little over-under. Kev Nash brings you our over-under. When we come back, let's see what is on our over-under. We got some, we got a Luke Kennard over-under. We have a Lakers versus Suns over-under. Aaron Rodgers. We'll touch on him a bit. We also got Tim Tebow in these over-unders as well. And Eugenio Suarez. Over-under. Next, hour 2 of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
It's so on. The SiriusXM Listen Free event is happening now. Just press the Sat button in your car to hear over 100 channels, including ad-free music of every kind, plus sports play-by-play and talking news for everyone. Enjoy even more free when you download the SXM app. Hear expertly curated podcasts, ad-free extra channels of music for any mood, SiriusXM video, and the ability to create your own Pandora music stations. Don't miss out. Listen free now.
Summer means longer days and sometimes longer weekends. Make the most of yours with Memorial Day savings now at the Home Depot. In-store, online, store-wide. Get grilling and saving with a 5-burner Next Grill for only $199. Regularly $249. Save on everything from mulch to mowers. Ready, set, summer. Memorial Day savings. Here now, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done while supplies last.
O'Reilly. Don't miss out on Clean Car Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. If your car could use a spring cleaning, stop by for great deals on everything you need to keep your car looking new. Like Mother's California Gold Wash and Wax, just $4.99 for a 64-ounce bottle. That's a $6 savings. Visit the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts today or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Hi, my name is Brian Sommers, and I'm an attorney with Kirkland and Sommers. We are a law firm dedicated to divorce and family law. We have 2 locations serving Miami Valley, one near Austin Landing and the other in Troy. Remember, we're not part-time divorce and family lawyers. We're full-time here for you.
Kirkland and Sommers, trusted and experienced, a family law practice dedicated to serving you. Visit them online at kirklandandsummers.com. That's Summers with an O, kirklandandsummers.com.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring owner, operator, and fleet owners. Dedicated home daily round trip lanes. That's right, round trip, get paid for all miles, 100% no touch freight. Cordell is offering great pay, a discounted fuel program, and free on-site truck parking, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus per truck. Take advantage of the dedicated round trip miles, sign-on bonus, and home every day or every other day. Go online to CordellTransportation.com to apply today. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Just like your favorite hometown baseball team, your Enterprise Roofing team is all about protecting home. We've been locally owned and operated since 1926. So for high quality roofing repair and replacement services you can count on down the stretch, call 937-240-2206 or visit roofup.com today. Enterprise Roofing is a proud supporter of the Cincinnati Reds.
There's been a lot of talk about the chicken sandwich wars lately, but only Lee's Chicken Sandwich is made famous. At Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, homestyle happens here with our chicken sandwich combo for only $5.99. You'll get a fresh, never frozen chicken breast in your choice of famous recipe or spicy, topped with chipotle ranch and pickles on a brioche bun, all served with a regular side and drink. Get a taste of fame with our chicken sandwich combo for only $5.99. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
In the Army National Guard, family means everything.
They really appreciate what she's done as a sister as well as a soldier and, supporting their country.
My parents, they were really supportive that all 5 of us would join.
Family members that are soldiers in the Army National Guard inspire and influence, setting a path for others.
It's validating knowing that, I kind of did my part to make sure this is what they actually wanted and that they feel the same way I do. I'm really proud that we get to help shape the future, and I know that my sisters are going to be amazing soldiers.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard instills pride that you and your family will share in.
A lot of pride, and they're just out there doing something every day and then serving their country as well.
I got my education because of the Guard. I got to travel a little bit and experience a whole different culture.
Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard. Aired by the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Goodyear knows the importance of keeping momentum as you head down the stretch. Momentum starts with movement. It's pulled from the air like a contested rebound. Momentum builds with steals and fast breaks, and is proven by deep threes as the shot clock expires. Momentum is how we change the game. And now it's time to discover where it can take us. Goodyear, more driven. It's time for some straight talk. Sure, saving money feels good, but cutting your wireless bill in half, that feels really good. Like walk-off home run in the 9th inning kind of good. Okay, maybe not that good, but pretty darn good. With Straight Talk, you can get 25 gigs of high-speed data for $45 a month, up to 50% less than the other guys. Plus, no contract. All on America's best networks. Why pay a whole lot when you could pay half? Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
It's Mattress Firm's best Memorial Day sale ever. For a limited time, save up to $500 on top-rated mattress brands like Sealy and Sleepy's.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on the Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. WYNG 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Ready for renovations? Arts Rental Equipment has the tools you need to make your home, lawn, and garden stand out this year. From brush chippers to cutoff saws, no job is too small or too big. Visit your local Arts store today. Work smart. Rent from Arts.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
All right, is that a Q2 or Q3 expense?
Dwayne's CPA went MIA.
Nah.
To keep his books and his sanity, he needs to find a replacement ASAP.
Hey, Johnny, have you ever heard of a fungible good?
Indeed can help him hire the people he needs.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
O'Reilly. Don't miss out on Clean Car Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. If your car could use a spring cleaning, stop by for great deals on everything you need to keep your car looking new. Like Mother's California Gold Wash and Wax, just $4.99 for a 64-ounce bottle. That's a $6 savings. Visit the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts today or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Life hacks. What would life be without them? Like using candle wax to loosen a stuck zipper. Here's another life hack. Now you can get the same high-quality insurance from Allstate, but at a new low rate. With Allstate, you can lower your rates, not your expectations. Visit Allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Not available in every state. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Today, I'm going to surprise my girlfriend of 5 years with something great for her birthday. A scented candle. I'm talking a good scent, like lavender. Not something lame like pine. I've been building this gift up too, telling her it was going to be something special. She made a joke about me knowing her ring size, and I played it off like she was on the right track. I even mentioned that her parents were fully on board with the one I picked out. She's going to be so surprised to get this candle.
Maybe clueless boyfriends just need a Snickers. Snickers satisfies.
Do you have a home improvement project? Use the right tool for the job and rent from Arts Rental Equipment. Arts has the best selection from power washers and ladders to loaders and dump trailers. Work smart. Rent from Arts.
It's Mattress Firm's best Memorial Day sale ever. For a limited time, save up to $500 on top-rated mattress brands like Sealy and Sleepy's.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio. It's live, it's local, it's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers.
All right, hour number 2, the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers and Orion Sports Medicine. The Cincinnati Reds, after an off day yesterday, in action tonight. They have the Washington Nationals. They are on the road. Max Scherzer on the mound for the Reds. So, you got to look out for we haven't had a no-hitter in, a whole week? I mean, I feel like it's been a decade. So look out for that with Max Scherzer on the mound. He has an ERA under 2 at home, and he hasn't lost at home this season. And the Reds could be one of the best hitting teams in baseball, but they also at times fall asleep at the plate, and that's going to be the big question tonight. How will that tough series, after being swept by the Giants, dropping 2-3 against the Brewers, an off day yesterday, they're trying to get some guys, to wake wake up a bit. If Eugenio Suarez could wake up, that would be huge, especially for a team that has been represented well at the plate with Jesse Winker and Nick Castellanos. So that's going to be the big thing. So we have the Reds and the Nationals tonight, 7:05 the first pitch, 6:35 the pregame right here on Dayton's home of the Cincinnati Reds, 1410 Wing AM. We have 3 NBA playoff games tonight. No Obi Toppin and the Knicks. These are the round of games that played on Sunday. So the only game that was played on Sunday that's not being played tonight is the Hawks and the Knicks. I thought that was kind of strange. But you have the Celtics and the Nets game 2 tonight. The Nets, of course, lead that series 1-0. You have the Lakers and the Suns, and that's a huge series for the Lakers. By the way, the Lakers are a 2-point favorite tonight on the road at Phoenix. I expect a big game tonight from everyone involved there. I think the Lakers tie it up at a series apiece, or at a game apiece. And then you have Luke Kennard's Clippers welcoming in the Dallas Mavericks. The Clippers a 7-point favorite, although they did go down in game 1 at the hands of the Mavericks. 3 really good games tonight. I was up late last night watching the games, and it was Dame time in the first half, and it was Dame timeout in the second half. I mean, what happened to it? What happened to, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm mean. Every time he struggles and fails, I smile thinking of you. I don't know why. I'm vindictive like that. I'm like,
never mind.
Suck it, Kev. He sucks.
Never mind the 32 points in the first half. Never mind
how you start, it's how you finish.
Never mind they were down 20 points and then he went completely ape bleep and got him back in the game. Never mind that, huh? Never mind that.
It's a results-based business, man. It's a
results-based. You got to look at how, Joker played. I mean, they played even. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, Dame can go crazy and drop 42. But if, the counterpart and potentially the MVP of the league does just as good as he does, whatever Dame did don't matter because their guy did the exact same thing for them. And the others, quote unquote, as like Shaq likes to say, like the role players for Portland didn't show up. Melo didn't show up. Anthony Simons didn't show up. Nurkic didn't show up like they all did in game 1. The others for the Nuggets did, along with their big time MVP and Joker dropping what he dropped. Joker had like 35. So yeah, he came to play too, man. But game 3, Thursday, 10:30 tip. Get your coffee ready.
There you go. Get your popcorn and your coffee ready. Team to look out for, honestly. I mean, the Milwaukee Bucks right now, the reason that they're a dangerous team is because everyone's focusing on the Sixers, the 1 seed, Brooklyn trying to get their big 3 acclimated. The Knicks are a great story because they're back in the playoffs after a huge layoff. Of course, the Miami Heat were in the finals last year. They do not look like the same team. Everyone's paying attention to the Boston Celtics down there at the bottom as well and what noise they can make. No one's talking about the Bucks. That's a team right there that Giannis's numbers are better than any of the years that he won the MVP. You can't tell me that his season, that he has not been as impressive as what he was the 2 years he won the MVP. I know Joker and everything's having a great season and all that. But the Bucks, I think the reason they're playing so well is because no one gives a buck about what they're doing right now. No one's paying attention. And they quietly, by the way, averaged 120 points a game this season to lead the NBA. I mean, they are a very well-balanced team, not just at the offensive end, but at the defensive end. Brim Forbes, by the way, played in the Horizon League for a bit for Cleveland State before transferring to Michigan State. He had a big night last night, had 6 threes. Milwaukee, it was like a regular season game. They routed them. I mean, it was a ugly, high-scoring game, and there was Giannis at the end of the bench with 6, 7, 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, just chilling. Yep, just chilling. Look out for Milwaukee. It would not be surprising at all. You're going to have Bucks Nets probably in the Eastern Conference Finals, and it could be the Bucks in the finals. I mean, that's how stacked they are.
I picked the Bucks and the Lakers to make it to the NBA Finals. The thing about Milwaukee Bucks is 2 things for me. One, obviously, the addition of Drew Holiday, somebody that can man the point guard spot and not have to have Giannis bring the ball up and execute the offense and everything like that. He's one of the best defensive players in the league as well, so you got him. But the biggest jump and the most important thing, in my opinion, for the Bucks is they have Chris Middleton be the closer. They don't have Giannis being the closer. They have Giannis being the finisher. Like, okay, we're going to run pick and roll with Chris Middleton starting the action. So we'll have Giannis dive to the rim as opposed to have Giannis with the ball in his hands, having him make the decision. We'll have Middleton make the decision because Middleton can hit the pull-up jumper and he can pass because you could throw a terrible pass and Giannis will still go catch it. So that small tweak saying, you know what, Giannis, you're still our guy, but at crunch time, we're going to go to the guy that can hit a jumper. And that small tweak may take them to the NBA.
And it's not just a tweak. It's a tweak that's made from a philosophical standpoint with the team's approach, but also for Giannis to be able to accept that tweak.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of star players, 2-time MVPs, who will look at you and say, okay, you want me to take a lesser role in crunch time. Okay. So got to give him credit for that too, because there's not a lot of stars that are going to agree to you taking the ball out of their hand in those moments. That's why we talk about, and I love when people say, well, the Nets won't work. There's only one ball. Well, again, you're talking about a team that averages 120 points per game. Each guy can get 30 shots. Each guy can average 30, and there's still 60 points to be filtered through everybody else on the roster. So that's why I laugh when people say, but good for him for being willing to accept taking a step back in those big moments. Because, by the way, we fall in this trap of the team's best player has to be the guy that hits the big shots at the end. And sometimes, like, there's not a whole lot of number ones in the NBA. In fact, who are your number ones? And I mean, like, you put this guy in a team when they're title contenders. I think there's two. There's LeBron James and Kevin Durant. And when those two are out of the league, everyone acts like, and I say this in baseball all the time, everyone's like, well, who's the Reds' ace? Sometimes you don't have an ace. It's supposed to be Luis Castillo, but I get mad at people when they say that every team has an ace. No, every team has 5 pitchers in a rotation, but not every team has an ace.
Right.
Every team has a best player, but not every best player is a number one. And I don't know if Giannis is a number one, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know how good you have to be a number one? It took Kevin Durant forever to be a number one. LeBron James, it took him a few years to be not just the one on his team, but the guy that you could just plug him on a roster. Cleveland, championship contenders. Heat, championship contenders. Back to Cleveland, championship contenders. Lakers, championship contenders, win champion. So there's only select few of those guys. It's not James Harden. James Harden makes a bad team, a playoff team, but he doesn't make them a title favorite. Kevin Durant can go to the Nets, boom, title contenders. Now, there's a lot of parts around it, don't get me wrong, but there's not a lot of guys you can instantly drop on a roster. Like, as good as Dame Lillard is, he's not a guy that you could just put on a roster and say, just put a couple good shooters and another score and some good shot blockers and their title contender. Dame needs that other one. His stubbornness might get in his way of him ever getting a ring, but he'll go down as one of the most respected players because he's going to stick to Portland no matter what. But
one of those things in basketball that still matters is size still matters. Like, as great as Allen Iverson was, 5'11" shooting guard, got him to the finals, got him a game in the finals. You know why they lost? Because Kobe Bryant is 6'6" and could do exactly the same things that Allen Iverson can do.
Well, that and Shaq against Dikembe Mutombo.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, at the end of the day, size still matters. Like, big guards matter. Yes, you can be a dominant player like Dame. You can be a floor general like CP3 and everything like that. You can be as creative as you want to be, like a Kyrie Irving. You can be the best shooter on the planet like Steph. But at some point, you need to have size. You need to be a big person in the NBA, because we can rewind to the 06 championship the Cavs won. Steph ran out of gas, not because he's not in great shape. It's like, man, he's a small person. And at that moment in time where he couldn't get around Kevin Love, he couldn't get a shot off over Kevin Love, it was because Kevin Love had size. And in that small space, he couldn't beat him because he's a small person in NBA terms. So size still matters, especially in the NBA. And another thing about the Nets, when you have a player like Kevin Durant, he doesn't need to dribble the ball to score. He's so ill that he can just say, hey, today I'll be the guy that stands in the corner and just catches and shoots threes. This game, I'll be the guy in the post and just turn around and hit jumpers all day. Or this game, I feel like dribbling. Like, that's how skilled Kevin Durant is. So the whole one ball thing, I think it matters in depending on the construction of your team. But with that guy, he don't need the ball to score. Like, that's almost ill he is. Like, you give it to him 5 times, he shoots it 5 times, he's probably going to make it 4 times. He's so efficient. He's so good. He doesn't need to do a lot of things. It's all, remember that highlight they keep running of Klay Thompson where he scored like 42 points and only took 20 dribbles? Like, Kevin Durant does that. Like, there's been points throughout the season that he's done that. And there'll probably be times in the playoffs that he does that as well because, hey, y'all do all the fancy dribbling. I'll just shoot it because I'm 7 feet tall and I make them Like, that's how good the dude is. He's just ill like that, man. I love watching KD play.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, you good.
No, Eric on Facebook says we will never know if Durant could lead a bad team to the championship because he has never been to the big game without three other stars. LeBron James beat him, Westbrook and Harden, Ibaka in 5 games. Way the best. Durant needs 3 other superstars to win. Eric, first of all, I understand what you're saying because the narrative with Kevin Durant is that it would have meant a lot more if he would have finished with 1 championship his entire career in OKC. That would have meant more. Like Dirk Nowitzki's title is probably the last. I guess you could say Kawhi's in Toronto, but he left Toronto. So the last respected championship that was won, maybe not by us, but by those who always are finding a reason to nitpick titles now. Dirk Nowitzki won the last respectable NBA championship, won it with the team he started with, won it, by not going to join super teams. He never was tempted. Towards the end, Mark Cuban even came out, said he had multiple conversations with him. I'll get you to a contender. Where do you want to go? I want to make sure you end your career with the ring. And he said absolutely not, that it would mean more to end his career with one team than to, with no championship than to get a ring by just jumping to a contender that's already been built. So that doesn't happen anymore. So when people say like Eric, you're not wrong, but at the same time, I don't like that mindset of, well, you can't win without good play. There is not one player in the history of the league outside of Kawhi Leonard in Toronto that wins a championship without star players around them. That just doesn't, I can't think of the last time that a championship was won where the number 1 player on the roster didn't have a legit number 2 and 3. Like LeBron hasn't won a championship without a legit 1 or without a legit 2 and 3. Kobe never won a championship without a legit 2 or 3, or vice versa. He was the 2 and 3 to Shaq for a bit before, Michael, the big, bad, great Michael Jordan. I mean, Jesus praise to him, Michael Jordan. The Pope asked for forgiveness from Michael Jordan. I mean, I can go on and on. So Michael Jordan had 2 and 3s with him. Like there's no, so I don't like when people say Kevin Durant can only win it if he has star players. That's how it all works in every sport. There's no such thing. Like Tom Brady's never won a Super Bowl without good players around him. The names aren't as sexy as some of the other star players and wide receivers that some of the great quarterbacks have won. But you can't win championships in any sport, no matter what, unless you have good star players. So I won't go that far as saying
it goes all the way back. You can even think about, Bird and Magic. Those are the highlight names. But guess what? Magic Johnson played with Kareem and James Worthy. Larry Bird played with Kevin McHale and the Chief Robert Parrish. So it's a ton of guys that these dudes play with. The thing about NBA is the main guy gets the general attention and he gets all the love and all the blame, just like the star quarterbacks in the NFL. And the thing about the NBA is when the Heat beat OKC in the championship, we look at KD, Russ, Harden, Ibaka. We look at them as they are currently. Russ wasn't Russ that he is at his peak. Ibaka wasn't Ibaka at his peak. James Harden was still coming off the bench. Like he hadn't even gone to Houston and did the crazy things that he did in Houston. Those guys were ascending then. You know what I'm saying? And they lost to a better team, which is perfectly fine. But we like to put this on the player and say, like, all right, man, they were in their prime when they lost. No, they weren't. He wasn't in his prime. He was on his way. So I get what he's saying. I understand what he's saying. And there's an argument for it to be out there that he hasn't proven that he can win with, a less talented roster around him. But, I mean, just him as a player, like, man, I think Kevin Durant, like, if he's probably the most talented player, like offensively I've ever seen, man. Like just the ease that he does it. Like, watching Michael Jordan, you saw effort. Like it takes effort to dunk on a 7-footer. LeBron, it takes effort to be body slammed with 2 arms and still finish and make a layup. That takes effort. What Kevin Durant does, catches the ball at 7 feet, faces you up and says, you can't block my jump shot because I'm 7 feet tall. I'm going to drive right around you and lay it up because I'm 7 feet tall. I'm that skillful. He is that skillful. So his game is poetry in motion, man. Like he doesn't waste movement. There's no extra crossovers and moves. I'm going to try to make you fall. He don't do all that. I'm going to swim move and shoot it.
Yep.
It's simple. He plays a very simple game and it's so effective. So like, that's why I love it, because all the things, the air reverses and all the great moves that Iverson and Jordan and all these other guys did, it took a lot of effort to get those shots off. KD ain't a lot of effort. It's like, I'm just better than you at shooting the basketball and I'm taller than you. You can't do anything about it.
Yeah. The one thing with KD that's still going to be up for debate, and like, especially, this is going to be huge. If they don't win a championship, they should win a championship with this group. But if they don't, oh boy, that's a big deal, because I don't disagree with anything you just said about KD, but we can go and talk about James Harden, how effortless his scoring ability is. And you look at Kyrie Irving and how effortless his ball handling skills are. But all these guys are super talented. We'll never debate the talent level of these guys, but there's just something that, like, I mean, whether you guys love LeBron or not, MJ had it, Magic had it, Bird had it, MJ has it, Kobe had it, and LeBron has it. It's one player a decade, it seems, that has the Tom Brady factor of, I mean, they have the elite talent with the aura of, when I step in a locker room, we're instant title contenders. Kevin Durant, I put in that category this year with LeBron James, but it's one of those things where Durant has yet to prove that his talent alone is good enough to will you to a championship. Every team has an elite scorer. Every team has an elite weapon. I mean, Giannis Antetokounmpo in Milwaukee, Dame Lillard in Portland, the Joker right now doing what he's doing, about to win an MVP. I mean, every team has an elite talent, but there's a difference between being an elite talent and an elite winner. And I don't know if Kevin Durant's in that elite winner stage yet. He needs this championship in Brooklyn, whether it's this year or next, because I would give him a pass for this year. I mean, just with him missing so much time in it. But then again, I don't know. I'll probably still blame him. Bottom line is, elite player, elite talent, yes. Elite winner, that's where I think the line is going to be kind of with question marks. I think that's where people are coming at, where even the titles he won in Golden State, and you can argue that maybe they don't win all of those titles without him. The point is that he would not have won any title unless he joined a team that had already won 70 games, had already won a championship. That's where everyone's coming at. You know, I don't know. I don't feel like getting into that conversation about that, but that's where it's at. Want to do? Let me ask you
this real quick, since we talking NBA. I tweeted this out. I want to get your take on it. Championship or bust? Lakers, Nets. That's it. Those are only teams that I
saw that, and I agree with it. But it's not often I agree with you on everything. I like that list that you put out there. Yeah, those are the only two. Championship or bust.
Let me get that clip real quick.
Championship or bust. Those are the only two teams. I don't think that there's anyone else out there that. And the Nets have holes. Brooklyn has defensive concerns. They have an elite three, and they don't really have anything else. I mean, they're not very good outside of those three. That's the concern. They have guys who are serviceable, but you take those role players on Brooklyn. No one is fighting to get the role players in Brooklyn. Right. The players that Brooklyn had that everyone really wanted, Jared Allen, and those guys got plucked already to be able to make room for those guys. So
they got the Claxton kid in there. He's playing some good basketball, but
that talent, it's championship or bust. Milwaukee's fine. Oh, I'll let you finish your thing. Yeah, because I can't remember how you had it.
So I got it. Championship or bust. Lakers and the Nets. Finals or bust. Bucks and the Clippers.
Repeat it one more time.
Finals or bust.
Okay, that's right.
Or their seasons a bust. Bucks and Clippers.
But that's where my next point was. I was going to say the Bucks are the team out of the East that, and right away, if you have the Brooklyn Nets as championship or bust, they're automatically in that finals or bust category too. So the Bucks, the only other team in the East, although I'm trying to figure out why are you giving a pass to Philly? I'm giving a pass to Philly too, and I don't know why. But why are you giving them a pass?
I thought about that long.
I think they have the best coach in the East. That's why.
I think they play the best basketball, like team basketball and togetherness and all those catchphrases and everything like that. They haven't even been to the Eastern Conference Finals yet. So I think in the NBA, especially, it's about baby steps. So they've got to the second round, like once or twice or whatever. So the next step for them should be the Eastern Conference Finals. But if somebody was to say, the Philadelphia 76ers should be making it to the finals or it's a bust, I wouldn't have an argument with it.
All right. What was next up on your tiered list?
So next on the conference finals or bust, the Jazz, Nuggets, and the Philadelphia 76ers.
Jazz on the conference finals?
Yes.
And because you've used the Clippers, that's why you're not saying them. The Clippers, by the way, they are finals or bust.
Absolutely.
There's no way around it. They've actually taken a step back and all that stuff. So anyways, that's besides the point. So repeat those again for the
Conference finals. Eastern
okay.
Conference finals, Western Conference finals don't matter, or their season is a bust. Utah Jazz, Denver Nuggets, 76ers.
Murray plays
Nuggets, but he's done for the season.
Okay, those two teams, they might as well just merge. Denver, it drives me nuts. I literally get their players mixed up, their teams mixed up. It drives me nuts. I agree with that too. I think when you're talking about the Eastern Conference, Western Conference, yeah, those teams, I mean, they're good enough to get there. I mean, you said Portland, right?
No, I think everybody else is just house money. Like, I don't have like expectations for anybody else that's playing in the playoffs to do like damage. Like, I mean, I know I'm a big Luka guy, but I don't expect them to make a run to the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference Finals as much as of a Dame Lillard fan. I was talking about this with Killer Kev. Like, I see them losing in 7 to Denver. I just think Denver should make it to the conference finals or their season is a bust. I mean, you have the MVP of the league. You have a ton of guys around him that are shooters and finishers. You made that big trade for Aaron Gordon, who's a great defensive player and a great finisher at the rim. So you filled that hole on your team that they let Jeremy Grant walk to Detroit for. So you filled that hole on your squad. He made the argument that if Murray was there, he would be with me. But since Murray isn't there, he wouldn't have them conference finals or bust. As far as Utah, like, I guess this is probably why Utah, they're the number 1 seed. They got the best record in the league. You got to make it to at least the conference finals, at least, right?
The reason I said, like, I don't look at the Jazz as I think seeding no longer matters in the NBA with resting players. I mean,
the end of the regular season.
We talked about this yesterday in regards to, like, the Lakers are a 7 seed when those guys are healthy. And I think they need a few more games just to kind of get the legs back underneath them. The Lakers will be the 1 seed Lakers here in about 2 games once they kind of get the legs back underneath them, in my opinion. And they're like, the only reason they're a 7 seed is because the injuries during the regular season and them getting their guys back late heading in. So again, no knock on Utah. You win 50+ games.
But I ain't gonna let them off the hook. I can't let them off the hook.
But I don't like Utah as a finals or bust team.
No, the conference finals. Yeah, man. Look, I'm not about to let you because if it was another team in there, if it was the Lakers, if it was Portland, I would have the exact same feeling. Like, you have to make it to this level or your season is a bust. I'm not putting it on because another team had injuries. There's a COVID year. Look, man, everybody played during a COVID year, and everybody has injuries. Injuries are part of the game. Y'all won the most games in the NBA. At the very minimum, you should make it to your conference finals. And that's how I feel about Philadelphia, too. You got the best record in the East. Y'all the number 1 seed in the East. There's fans in the building now. Wait till you see the games in Atlanta with the Knicks. Atlanta has a full stadium. They're going to have a full arena. So it is conference finals or bust for the Jazz, the Nuggets, because you guys got the MVP, and Philadelphia because y'all the number 1 seed in the East. And then everybody else, hey, man, entertain me. I'll be up late watching y'all hoop.
All right. And by the way, yes. And there's a lot of those teams who there's going to be a lot of overlap. There's only two spots in the conference championship, but that just means that there's more than one team that, failed. Someone just said something. Where'd it go? Vincent Waller says, I would say that the 76ers would be a championship or bust team too. If they can't get it done this year, something has to be done about the Embiid-Simmons duo. Vince, I will say this, and to your point, I do like that. I like the tiered thing that you did.
Thank you.
So there's that. We'll get a graphic for that too to kind of look at tomorrow, just so everyone can kind of follow it who's following along on Facebook and YouTube. But I do think that there's championship or bust, conference finals or bust, type of mentality. But I also think that it depends who knocks you out as well. Ooh. So for instance,
I like it. I like where you're going. I like where you're going.
When Vincent says, I would say the 76ers are championship or bust, here's where I'm at with that. If they get knocked out by the Nets in the Eastern Conference Championship, I could forgive that. I can look over that. If they don't get, like, the Sixers to me are Eastern Conference Finals or bust. So with that, I'm like, okay, if you get there and you beat the Nets to get to the finals, then it's like one of those things where I think that they're as good as the Lakers. I think they could beat the Lakers in the finals. I think they could beat the Clippers in the finals. I think they could beat those. But the Sixers, if they lose to the Nets, when you lose to Kevin Durant and James Harden and Kyrie Irving, you see what I mean? That like So Vince, to your point, I'm not going to blow up the Embiid-Simmons duo because they couldn't beat Kevin Durant, James Harden, multiple MVPs between them, finals MVP, fighting the championships. When you look at KD's career, Kyrie's won an MVP, finals MVP, all that stuff. I couldn't forgive the Sixers if that's who they lose to. But if they lose to let's say that the Nets don't even get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Let's say that it's the Bucks that knock out the 76ers, then that's on the 76ers. Then you got to explore. I'm not willing to move on from the Embiid-Simmons duo because I think everyone's getting impatient because of how long they've been together, but this was the best that those two have looked together. Yeah. Like, that's the most cohesive. If anything, you add to it. I don't think you tinker with it. I think that Doc Rivers came in, was an adult in that locker room, and got them young dudes to look at him and buy into what he wanted to do. And I thought the growth between both of them. And what I love about Doc Rivers, we always talk about what players can't do. Oh, Ben Simmons can't shoot the three. Okay, he can't shoot the three. Go get guys who can. And that's what they did. That's what they did. Okay, he can't shoot a three. Okay, so don't call plays for him to shoot threes. In fact, call plays for what he can do. He's a slasher. He could take you one-on-one isolation. He's going to dribble and attack the paint, and then when the defense sucks in on him to stop him because he's great finishing at the rim, he's going to dump it down to Joel Embiid down low, another MVP. Well, at a certain point of the season he was. I like that. I wouldn't break him up. Even if they lose in the Eastern Conference Finals, I think you could still say, okay, you guys, you didn't live up to what you should have done, but if you lose to the Nets, I'm fine. But I'm not ready to blow up those two yet. I think you got to go after – You got to find someone else. I think you need to get another three. Them losing JJ Redick, I thought was big. I thought that was I thought that kind of hurt. But they need to continue. There's a reason the guys like Luke Kennard, who I do not think is a top NBA talent, got paid like one because there's one particular skill set he brings to the table, that is shooting. And I think you're going to see guys get paid a lot of money. I mean, if you go back, Danny Green, if Danny Green could stay healthy, the amount of money he can get paid moving forward. If you think back to some of the great three-point shooters over the last 10, 15 years, if they can be in their prime in today's game, they're going to make bank. Luke Kennard made bank. For those of you locally who know Luke Kennard and are friends with him, I'd befriend him.
Keep him close.
Keep him close. Keep him close because he got paid for that three-point shot of his.
Yeah, man. I mean, you look at everything that's going on with Philly, man. Like, they made that free agent play and got Seth Curry, and then they made the free agent play and got Danny Green, but then they got the young guy off the bench, Thibault, who's also a 3-and-D guy. So they got guys that play defense to shoot threes. So when you have a slasher point guard like a Ben Simmons who's 6'10", you can't guard him with a point guard just because he's the point guard. You know what I mean? Like, if they're playing against Golden State, Steph's not guarding him. Like, he can't. Nobody can guard that. You know that? You gotta go ahead and put Draymond on him because, hey, man, we need somebody with some size. And like we talked about before, size matters in the NBA still. No, he can't shoot a lick, but all the other things that he can do. He's a great defensive player. He's a great rebounder. He's a great passer, a great finisher. Like, all those things that he can do, he just don't do the things that y'all want him to do. Just because the NBA is 3-point happy now, okay, the other guys that can actually knock those shots down, like a Seth Curry and Thibault and Tobias Harris, let them shoot the threes. I'll go clean up the glass. I'll go get a tip dunk. When last time you seen a point guard get a tip dunk? It's crazy, man. Love the association.
Justin Kenner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. So we'll step away for a few moments. Vincent, he responded, by the way. He goes, it would be hard to give up on the 76ers duo, but I think Simmons could land them a massive haul to pair with Embiid. So that becomes the question that's been debated for the last 2 or 3 years, too, of if you could only stick with one, who you sticking with. And talent perspective, it's Joel Embiid all day, but it's also the makeup of him, and the durability has always been a concern. It's never been a question about both of their talent. Both of them have a ton of talent, but both of them have a couple issues with their game that you can dissect if you want. I still think you stick with Simmons just because Simmons, as good as he is offensively, just as good defensively. I don't know. I just think you look at guys like Andre Drummond and some of the bigs that float around, and DeMarcus Cousins, there's going to be those level players that are always floating around the NBA. They're always going to be available in free agency. They're always going to be available come trade deadline time. I think those guys are easier to find than those effective guards like that, especially guys that play at both ends of the floor. There's not anyone in the league that plays like, Kawhi Leonard is a million times better than Simmons, but that's the only player I could think of that's built like them, that can handle the ball so well, can score so well, and then also one of the best defenders in the league. Simmons is that good. He was in line. Him and Joel Embiid were, I think, they're the finalists too for Defensive Player of the Year. That's how good both of those guys were.
Insane. I know earlier in the season when Harden was on Houston still wearing the fat suit, like that was the play. Like that was the rumor around the association that Philly was going to give up Ben Simmons for James Harden. I would have did it, even though I'm not the biggest James Harden fan in the world. I would have did it, but apparently Houston wanted Ben Simmons, Thibault, and 2 first-round picks and something else just for James Harden. Like, I get it. James Harden is unbelievable, and I think James Harden with Embiid would be crazy too. But like, I just got a cutoff point of like what I'm willing to give up. Like, I can't do 5 for 1, man. I just can't. Like, it just, like, in my soul, I can't give you 5 things for 1 thing. I just can't. And yes, James Harden is obviously better than Ben Simmons, especially at scoring the basketball and being a playmaker and everything like that. But man, 5 for 1, would you have done that?
On the NBA, yeah, I don't value draft picks in the NBA. I don't. For me, I don't value draft picks. So
they're only as valuable as
they make the package look bigger.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, I think that you look at the available free agents, the role players, every title team is a good free agency away from what they do with what role players they bring in. Yes, we pay attention to where the stars go, but follow where the defensive guys like Patrick Beverley and those guys right there, those are the glue to championship teams. That's why the Clippers look really good on paper. That's why, the Lakers, it wasn't about Anthony Davis and LeBron James. It was about, okay, what pieces are you going to add? That's why Montrezl Harrell, that was one of the biggest free agent signings this past offseason to me. He wasn't a big name, but it's those guys right there. So I think that's how you improve your team, is in free agency with those mid-level guys. Draft picks, I mean, there's a reason that LeBron, like the Miami Heat, they went ahead and got LeBron what he wanted that last year, and then they ended up moving on. It wasn't Mario Chalmers. Who was the point guard that they got late? Shabazz Napier. That's why they're like, okay, LeBron, you want us to get him? Fine, we'll get him. Because there was nobody you were going to get that late in the draft that was going to make you a championship team that very next year anyway. So that's I just don't value draft picks. That's all. But if you're bringing in James Harden on the roster that you think is good enough to win a championship, you don't want to give away those championship glue pieces. So the draft picks didn't bother me, but with what you're saying, and that's why the Nets are in that situation. The Nets were like, well, let's just get these guys here. Let's get Kevin Durant, let's get Kyrie, and let's get James Harden. Let's see what we can do with these 3, with those other scrub role players. And then if we win a title, great. And if not, we'll go to the drawing board in the offseason, then go get those real guys. We'll go get the Montrezl Harrells, not really him, but we'll get those caliber players and fill in the gap. And guys, in the NBA, that's what's great about if you want a championship bad enough, those glue guys, they're going to take less money if it's worth it. Because in their head, they're like, well, we're giving up X amount of money to go here, but that's, to me, I'm purchasing an NBA championship ring. That's how they view it, and I like that. So, all right, we'll get into our over-under. Wow, look at that. See the association. That's your kryptonite right there.
I know. I can't help it.
Yeah. We'll be back. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Over-under. Let's talk some Luke Kennard. We'll talk some Aaron Rodgers. Eugenio Suarez and the Reds. Will he wake up tonight? Eugenio Suarez right now, if you look at that, he has 1 hit in his last 22 at-bats over the last week. And the pitcher they're facing tonight is really, really good. Will his offensive woes continue? That'll be part of our over-under next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 90. Tonight's also going to be partly cloudy, a low near 68. And tomorrow is going to be mostly cloudy with showers and thunderstorms, a high near 82. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather brought to you by Cullet Seal Coating, protecting the asphalt surfaces around your home, office, or commercial property. Crack filling, asphalt sealing, and parking lot striping. Find us at culletsealcoating.com.
Wendy's Frosty Chino is cold brew with frosty creamer. What does that mean? It means we took rich, smooth cold brew and then added your choice of vanilla or chocolate frosty creamer. Can you say good morning? Or better yet, Wendy's Frosty Chino? It's cold brew with frosty creamer. It's only at Wendy's and it's delicious. So ditch the stuffy coffee shop and say hasta la vista, barista. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's Frosty Chino and start your morning right. At participating U.S. Wendy's.
It's time for some straight talk. You've got real work to do, but everyone's sucking up the free Wi-Fi faster than a Mocha Choco double frap on ice. So be your own hotspot.
Now with Straight Talk Wireless, get 10 gigs of hotspot data with the ultimate unlimited plan. Just $55 a month on America's largest and most dependable networks. You don't have to find a hotspot. You are the hotspot. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
Compatible device required. See straighttalk.com.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
I can't take this anymore.
I lost my job.
I feel alone.
Crisis Text Line is here to help day or night. Text 4HOPE to 741-741 for free and confidential support. Text with a trained volunteer to move from that hot moment to a cool calm.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Well, I started my own restaurant because I love to cook, but that also means a lot of greasy pots and pans. And we can't waste time with endless sink changeovers. So we upgraded to Dawn Professional Pot and Pan.
Dawn Professional cleans 58% more pots and pans per sink than the leading competitor.
Less dish soap, fewer changeovers, and more time doing what we love.
Dawn Professional. It's clean. Upgraded. From P&G Professional.
Allstate is known for quality insurance, but you might not know them for low rates. That's about to change. With Allstate, you can save up to 25% when you bundle your home and auto. You know what else you might not know? The chicken came before the egg. With Allstate, you can lower your rates, not your expectations. Visit Allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company, Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company, and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Hi, my name is Brian Sommers, and I'm an attorney with Kirkland and Sommers. We are a law firm dedicated to divorce and family law. We have 2 locations serving Miami Valley, one near Austin Landing and the other in Troy. Remember, we're not part-time divorce and family lawyers. We're full-time here for you.
Kirkland and Sommers, trusted and experienced, a family law practice dedicated to serving you. Visit them online at kirklandandsummers.com. That's Summers with an O, kirklandandsummers.com.
Celebrate Jewish culture and community. Don't miss a Taste of Jewish Cultural Festival at Temple Israel on Friday, June 11th. During this special drive-through event, pick up food for the family with everything from traditional baked goods to food truck favorites. Enjoy children's activities, crafts, and the joy and inclusiveness of the Temple Israel family. A Taste of Jewish Cultural Festival, June 11th from 4 to 7 p.m. at Temple Israel on Riverside Drive, the last of 3 special drive-through community events. To learn more, visit tidayton.org.
Hey everybody, Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage and Rocket Companies. Last year, we saw historically low mortgage interest rates. In fact, over 1 million homeowners took advantage of refinancing or buying a new home with Rocket Mortgage. What you may not know is that interest rates are already starting to increase again, and it's likely that trend is only going to continue. Our team of experts is standing by to help you save before rates go up. With an official mortgage review from Rocket Mortgage, you'll see just how much money you could save by making a move right now. Don't look back over these next few weeks and wish that you had taken action. You could save hundreds on your mortgage payments or pay off your home loan earlier than planned. You could even take cash out of your home to pay off high interest debt, complete home repairs, or bulk up on an emergency fund. When you want to secure a low rate, Rocket can. Call 833-8ROCKET or visit rocketmortgage.com.
Rocket. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
It's Mattress Firm's best Memorial Day sale ever. For a limited time, save up to $500 on top-rated mattress brands like Sealy and Sleepy's.
The Reds are on the radio. Every hit, every strikeout, every Reds victory. You can catch all of the action all season long right here on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
All right, Justin Kinner, Kev Nash back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. We are Dayton's home of the Cincinnati Reds and the Nationals. Game one of a 7-game home stand, or I should say road stand, I guess, if that's what you want to say. The Reds are on the road for 7 straight. They got the Nationals and the Cubs heading into the weekend. I just butchered all that coming back. Bear with me here on a Tuesday. All right. Again, I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. So this is interesting. Pro Football Focus released their top 10 edge defenders in the NFL. Khalil Mack comes in at number 1, Kev, TJ Watt number 2, Joey Bosa at 3, Myles Garrett 4, and Nick Bosa at 5. I don't have an issue with any of that. I can't believe I'm saying this. I think when healthy, I'd take, as much as I love Myles Garrett, I love Nick Bosa. Nick Quitter Bosa.
A little high for me. A little high.
For Nicky?
I would have Myles Garrett in the top 5.
No, he would still be top 5. I think if I had, I love Myles Garrett.
One more time.
Khalil Mack 1,
yeah.
TJ Watt 2, Joey Bosa 3, Myles Garrett 4, and Nick Bosa 5. And again, it was stupid to even bring that up because who cares? 4 or 5, 5 or 4, doesn't really matter. Any one of those 5 right there. I mean, and Khalil Mack, I guess he has been really good. I guess I'm just like, it's like the Bears. I don't know. I guess I'm not as, he doesn't overwhelm me, I guess is all I'm trying to say. The others are like in your face, but then so is Mac, but I don't watch a ton of Bears games either. I mean, they're not a very sexy team to watch, but they are very good defensively. Cameron Jordan at number 6, DeMarcus Lawrence at 7, and then Chase Young coming in at number 8.
The young buck.
But I would Chase Young, Cameron Jordan. Chase Young, DeMarcus Lawrence. I guess I would chase there. Shaq Barrett at number 9. I love Shaq Barrett, and then Daniel Hunter number 10.
The thing about Shaq Barrett, I would like to see him against the run a little bit more because I don't watch a lot of Tampa Bay games. I know B-Ron could tell us a lot better. I mean, he's great against the pass, and I mean, it's an edge rusher. That's what you do against. That's what you do. You rush the quarterback and everything like that. But the run game still matters too. You still got to be able to set the edge against the run, get some TFLs outside of sacks. So, a little high, but, I'm cool with it.
Real quick Reds note here. I don't know. I've never coached even a T-ball team. But if I was to coach a little league team or, pony league or travel team or high school, I think the concept is pretty simple to understand, right? You take your best hitters and you put them up at the top of the order, correct? And then, kind of in descending order, like the worst hitters hit at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So David Bell, the lineup's out. And Eugenio Suarez is hitting. I'm not even going to read the full lineup because it's interesting to me. Eugenio Suarez is hitting a pitcher number this year. He's hitting 148. He has 1 for his last 22. And he is hitting leadoff tonight. So David Bell, the big question is, man, how could you even keep him in the lineup? And David Bell's like monster evil plan is, we're going to put him in leadoff. Didn't the Reds cut Billy Hamilton a few years ago, who was at least exciting to watch play, who could at least make something happen on the base paths when he can get there, who was at least pretty decent in center field, who at least brought something to the table? Billy Hamilton, I thought, checked off more boxes than this Eugenio Suarez. Eugenio Suarez, don't get me wrong, is you always take him over Billy Hamilton. But for the Reds to take a stand on Billy Hamilton a few years ago for not hitting, good enough to, put him at the leadoff spot, you got rid of him for that. But I thought that his defense and everything is still made up for some of the deficiencies he had offensively. Now, again, you cut him because he was not good offensively. That's what you do. I'm not calling to cut Eugenio Suarez, but you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth and say, when it comes to Billy Hamilton, that we have to cut him, even though he's really good defensively. He's one of the fastest players in the game. He has a lot of intangibles that he could at least make up for some of his flaws. We cut him for that. But then Eugenio Suarez, who is horrible defensively, he's horrible with the bat in his hand. He's not a good base runner. What? I don't get it. But hey, I wish I had David Bell's iPad to explain and walk me through why this makes sense. Look, at this point, I don't think it hurts. Baseball's a funny mental game, Kev. He could end up going off tonight. He could end up having one hell of a performance. Now, I don't know. I just find this strange. All right, Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, let's do this. Let's do a little over-under. Kev Nash brings you his over-under.
Kev Nash brings you over-under.
All right, it's our over-under right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Kev, first up on our over-under list, what do we got?
Luke Kennard, over-under. his season average of 8 points per game in 19 minutes in tonight's game 2 versus Dallas.
All right, so Luke Kennard on the season, again, averaging, his career, he's averaging just a hair under 10 points a game, which shout out to, that, again, I don't think people understand how difficult it is to average minutes. I've always said that about Obi Toppin, although I critique things, I was also, I praise the fact that if you could find even 5 minutes in a game to get out on the floor in the NBA every night, you're one of the best players in the world. Like, we really got that conversation about Kwame Brown last week. I'm like, we mocked Kwame Brown, but the dude played for 13 years and made over, I said 20 million. He made over 60 million. Mm-hmm. That dude was not a bust. He was a bust by number 1 overall pick standard, but when you play 13 years in the league, you're not a bust. But Luke Kennard averaging 8 points per game and 19 minutes to play throughout the regular season. He did not play
DMP
at all. He did not play at all in the Clippers game 1 loss against the Mavericks. So you're asking me over under Luke Kennard getting his season average of 8 points per game in 19 minutes. I'm taking the under and drastically taking the under. Keep in mind, the Clippers are the load management capital of the world during the regular season. If you look at Paul George and you look at Kawhi Leonard, and you look at those two guards right there, right there. And then you also have Rajon Rondo on that roster who's interchangeable, of course. And then you have Patrick Beverley. Luke Kennard's not cracking that order. So I'm taking the under. He did not play at all the other night. He might get some minutes tonight, but he's not going to play 19 minutes. And if you look at the fact that Paul George and Kawhi Leonard played 40 minutes, they're not coming off the floor. So unless foul trouble happens, I think it's going to take a lot for Luke Kennard to get some serious minutes in this series right now because Ty Lue is not letting his star players off the floor. And that's why you do load management during the regular season so that you can overload these guys in the games that matter. So I'm going to take the under. Luke Kennard does not score more than 8 points tonight, and he does not play more than 19 minutes tonight. He may not play at all tonight, so I'm going to take the under.
I'm going way under, and it's for exactly the same reasons that you said. You got a DNP in the first game, but also you got to think about this. Not only does Paul George and Kawhi get heavy minutes and everything like that, but their backups, those guys get minutes too. You talked about Rondo, but also Reggie Jackson's on the team. He's the backup shooting guard, so he gets burned there. And then Terrence Mann, he's the defensive guy that comes in when Kawhi needs a breather. So there's no spots for him to get. So I'm going to go way under on Luke Kennard getting his season average of 8 points or even 19 minutes in game 2.
All right, we're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. Head there now. As we're going through these over-unders, people jumping in the conversation. I'm curious. So the first one up was Luke Kennard over-under his season average. In the season, he averaged 8 points per game in 19 minutes of play per night. Will he reach that? Well, over-under 8 points tonight in 19 minutes. Over under, what say you? Jump in the comment section on Facebook and YouTube. Both Kev and I said the under. Kev, what's next?
Number 2, Anthony Davis, game 2 versus Suns tonight. Over or under 20 points for AD?
I'm going to say way over. I think I think Anthony Davis is going to come back and just have a monster game. I think LeBron's going to have a monster game. I think LeBron's going to have a couple near-death experiences. I think he might lose a leg or a finger or an eye, but I think that he's going to get up 10 minutes later and be fine. He's just by the way, last night I was at Kroger and I bought the Toon Squad Space Jam 2 gummy packs, by the way. Nora made fun of me like you would not believe. And she goes, why'd you get that? I'm like, it had LeBron James on it. And she made fun of me like you wouldn't believe. But anyways, ADD. I'm going to say way over on this. I think AD has a big game. For one, he has to. It's a must-win game tonight. I'm not saying that if they lose tonight that they are for sure done. But I would say that they're 90% done if they lose tonight. Because if they lose tonight, that means that the Lakers did not pick up their intensity from their deficiencies from game 1. And I think that if you come out as flat as you did in that game 1, I think that there's more going on behind the scenes as far as a disconnect with this roster right now, as far as the chemistry with them on the floor. They won a championship a year ago. They lost some of those key pieces. Obviously, no Dwight Howard, no Rajon Rondo. Those are two big guys that left. I thought that they upgraded with the talent they brought in the offseason, but there's a lot to be said about experience and leadership in the locker room. And AD and LeBron have missed a lot of time. They're trying to get back in the swing of things. It just might be too little too late, but I'm anticipating a big night from LeBron. I'm anticipating an even bigger night from Anthony Davis. I'm going to take the over. The over-under was 20 points for Anthony Davis in tonight's game 2 versus the Suns. Big time over. AD goes off tonight. Lakers win, tying the series at 1 apiece.
AD going to go ham tonight. He going to go ham tonight, and it's going to be an efficient 30-plus points tonight. He's going to go ham. I think the Lakers are going to blow the Suns out tonight. One thing that everybody got to look at is the injury that happened with Chris Paul and his shoulder. You watch that second half of the game, he was loose with the basketball. Chris Paul isn't loose with the basketball like that. So look for that. Look for them to be trapping him at half court and everything like that. And also look for Anthony Davis to put DeAndre Ayton on notice. Like, you had me first game. I'll give you credit for that. But I'm still AD. And AD has a long history of having dud games and then the next game coming out playing like he's supposed to play. And look for that to happen tonight. AD way over, like 35 points tonight.
All right, our first two over-unders. Luke Kennard, over-under, reaching his season average tonight of 8 points per game in 19 minutes of play. Over-under, Kevin and I both said under. And our second over-under, Anthony Davis, will he score over or under 20 points in tonight's game 2 versus the Suns? Kevin and I both agree. We're both taking the over in that situation. Your answers in the comment section will pull into the show. Head to Facebook, The Justin Kinner Show. Head to YouTube, ESPN Dayton. Jump in the comment section and be a part of Kev Nash's over-under. Kev, number 3.
Number 3, A-Rod, Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Fame quarterback for the Green Bay Packers.
Is he?
Yeah. That's him. That dude, the bad man, as Stephen A. likes to say. Playing one game for the Green Bay Packers in the upcoming season. Over or under?
Over under one game for Aaron Rodgers with the Green Bay Packers in 2021. I'm going to say under. I think his time in Green Bay is officially done. Mainly because that interview last night. I thought last night was a little bit of a nonverbal middle finger to the front office, because he went on there and he put to rest all the talk of him having a disconnect with Jordan Love. He said he likes Matt LaFleur. He loves the head. He goes, I love the coaching staff. You should. They put you in position to win an MVP. You love your teammates. You should. They put you in position to win the MVP. Jordan Love, you should. He's done nothing to you when you were in his shoes not even 10, 15 years ago. So you should be, and he never said he loves the front office. He said he made sure to pinpoint all the guys he loves and why.
I love my teammates.
And it was a subtle little nonverbal middle finger. Exactly. So I'm going to take the under. I think this is just a situation that there comes a point where you're doing more damage trying to fix something, because let's be clear, the front office is going to have to overcompensate to make him happy. You're going to overcompensate to the point where you might bring your franchise back a year or two if it means overspending, if it means giving up some key assets, trying to make a move, whether it be to bring Julio Jones in or what have you. The Packers need to stick to the game plan. They got through it the first time with Brett Favre into Aaron Rodgers. They're going to get through it now. It doesn't mean that you're going to get through it into a Super Bowl within the next 5 years, but you got to stay the course. You're going to be closer to turning it around if you move on from Aaron Rodgers than if you bring him back, sell the farm, go into debt, and then have to rebuild over a 3 or 4 year span, to where you move on from Aaron Rodgers. You still have enough good weapons on both sides of the ball that Jordan Love, if he could just be a little good, it's still a pretty good team in a division that's not great. I think it's under. I don't think Aaron Rodgers plays another game with the Green Bay Packers.
I'm going under as well, and when we agree on a lot of things, that's where I start to worry. I'm going under.
You're getting smarter, Kev. I love it.
I'm going under. I got Aaron Rodgers getting traded to the Broncos by July. That's where I got him going, man. Like, it just seems like that's where all the tea leaves are pointing, him getting traded there. This is the first time we actually heard Aaron Rodgers speak about the situation. Everything else has been, coming out from his agent, from speculation on Twitter, yada, yada, yada. This is the first time we heard him say these things, and he's burning bridges with that organization. So, you got to think, man, those guys that cut his check, they got egos too. And you know what? At the end of the day, they know how to have somebody on their team talking that reckless about them. Mm-hmm. So the things that he didn't say speaks volumes. So I think they make the smart business move and trade him for more draft picks and capital that they can turn around and flip and help their team out into the future. And I think, it'll be best for all parties involved.
Yeah, and I think they'll be fine. Look, and I love when people say, oh, man, the only way to get a quarterback is to be picking in the top 5 in the draft. Yes, that is a great way to do it. I mean, the Jaguars are going to be better off for it. The Bengals are better off for it. The Browns are better off for it. The Jets might be better off for it, although they've squandered multiple quarterbacks there. The Browns have, punched themselves in the gut many times. The bottom line is if you look at the NFL, 32 teams in the NFL, 15 teams have a new starting quarterback heading in through free agency, through trades. You can't foresee things moving forward, maybe the Deshaun Watson thing figures itself out, then he's still going to want out of Houston, and Green Bay can make an attempt to go get him, to act as if there are no other options at quarterback moving forward. And it's difficult to find a quarterback, but to sit there and act like it's impossible, the Packers can't just sell out their future to keep an aged quarterback, even if he's just won an MVP. Aaron's right, though. When he said he threw a wrench in their plans, like he said this as if it was like he trying to make them look bad, but he's right. I threw a wrench in their plans by winning an MVP. You did, because they were kind of counting on, not counting on, but they were anticipating. Okay, yeah. As a business owner, you have to anticipate things from a business. You have to anticipate the decline. You don't want to be. I mean, the Packers are in a better position than the Steelers. Yeah, like the Packers post Aaron Rodgers, they're in a better situation than the Steelers are post Big Ben. And we're not bashing the Steelers right now. We're only bashing the team that actually did what they were supposed to from a business perspective, other than communication being the key issue, of course. So yes, the under. I'll let you finish.
Yeah. Another thing about the Aaron Rodgers situation is, it's a tad bit different from the Brett Favre situation. Brett Favre was in 1 week, out the next. I don't know if I want to retire. Yeah, I'm coming back. And then constantly showing up to training camp a day before everything kicks off. So it left them in limbo. So are the Green Bay Packers emotionally scarred from that situation with Brett Favre, and they don't ever want to be caught with their pants down again, or playing the hokey pokey with their quarterback and everything like that? Is that the situation? Is that why? Because the only way to quote unquote make Aaron Rodgers happy, it's not going giving up draft capital to get Julio. It's getting rid of the GM. That's who he has the problem with. He doesn't want to have the GM a part of the organization anymore. That's the only way to make him happy. And I don't see that happening. Now, I know Green Bay Packers are a different type of franchise. They operate obviously a lot different from every other team out there. So, I know it's weird up there, but I just don't see it happen. I don't see them cutting off their GM to keep him happy. I see them making a move to trade him, get more draft capital, get more players on the team for the future, because they're already building towards the future. They already made that evident by drafting Jordan Love.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of moving on from a general manager. A general manager, by the way, like we're in love with Andrew Berry, Browns fans are, but Andrew Berry hasn't even got the Browns to an AFC title game. The Packers have been in the AFC title or the NFC title game 3 of the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. And he's won an MVP, and he has the number 1 ranked wide receiver in football, and they win the division pretty much every year. So I don't want to hear that, oh man, he's such a horrible GM. I think the Packers need to stick the course. Number 4 on our over-under, Kev.
Ooh, number 4, hot button issue. Tim Tebow in the season of the 2021 season, 1 regular season catch for the former quarterback turned tight end Tim Tebow, over or under 1 catch.
I want to say over so bad, but I'm going to say under. Look, Tim Tebow is not making the roster, and if he does make the roster, it's going to be in a very gimmicky thing. Like this is so. I don't know. I'm going to say under, because I don't think he's going to make this roster. I don't think he's good enough. But if he does, as I said, I'm tired. Like I'm still hearing these same arguments about how he's stealing a roster spot. He can't make the roster because he can't block. He can't do this. He can't create separation. And the 50th and the 51st and the 53rd player on the roster can. Like, we're talking about a guy that's going to be fighting for the bottom half roster spots, and you're holding him to a higher expectation than the other guys who are just barely hanging on to a roster spot. So I'm going to say under, but he could make the roster. I'm going to say under. He's not. I joked last week. I said, to me, what I'm praying happens is that he ends up catching a touchdown in week 1 from Trevor Lawrence, or what I would really love to see happen is a trick play. Tim Tebow throws a touchdown, not just makes a catch. He will throw a touchdown. But no, I'm going to stick to the under. Tim Tebow will not make a catch in 2021. I think that this is just Urban helping a former friend out. I think big picture, the talent's not going to be good enough to keep him on this roster. I don't think he's going to be a Jaguar moving forward. But I'm going to say the under.
I'm going to go under as well. I think Timmy gets cut in minicamp and everything like that because of the great Luke Farrell, former Buckeye, will be the starting tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars and catch 5 touchdown passes his rookie year. Go Buckeyes.
Ron Howard jumping in on the Aaron Rodgers. He says Aaron Rodgers is a crybaby B word.
Whoa!
At least Brady didn't tick everybody off when he left. Class act. Brady and Rodgers, they're both crying over the same thing. both MVP quarterbacks, both teams favored to win a Super Bowl every year, both quarterbacks coming from, well-respected organizations. They're both crybaby biatches. Okay, I'm just saying. I don't know what you really want me to say there, Ron. I mean, Tom Brady just, it was a more quiet exit than Aaron Rodgers because the Patriots, it's different though. Tom Brady didn't have any time left on his contract. So Aaron Rodgers does, and that's why it's louder. And the fifth over-under, Kev?
One hit for Suarez tonight in Game 1 showdown versus the Nationals.
Man, I was touching on this a little bit ago, but Eugenio Suarez, and again, Eugenio Suarez leading is the leadoff hitter tonight. David Bell has him hitting leadoff. Eugenio Suarez is hitting 148 on the season. He has one hit in his last 22 at-bats. Oh, I'm sorry, 21. He has one hit in his last 21 at-bats over the last 7 days. He's hitting 148 on the season. Every time we think that he's about to hit himself out of it, he just continues to go on these long slumps. Look, I think it's going to be definitely an under tonight, Kev. I think plus mainly because they're on the road and they're playing against Washington. Max Scherzer on the mound. Max Scherzer's undefeated at home this year. He has an ERA under 2. I think if there's ever a pitcher that you're going to see him kind of hit his way out of a slump, it's not going to be a guy like Max Scherzer. So I'm going to say that's going to be under. Eugenio Suarez will go 0 for tonight. But the Reds, they win the games they shouldn't, and they get hits against pitchers they shouldn't. And it wouldn't surprise me if he gets a hit or 2 or 3 tonight. Watch, when we come in tomorrow, we'll have a 3-home run game, and everyone will say he's back, baby. But I'm going to stick to my gut. Under. He will not get a hit tonight. Eugenio Suarez will go over against Max Scherzer tonight in the Nationals.
I am going over for 2 reasons. 1, I didn't want to agree with you 5 straight times. 2, he's leading off. That means he's going to get more opportunities to bat. So he's going to get 2 hits tonight, and the Reds win. How about that?
And the Nationals are happy. They've already started the game out with 1 out. So Max Scherzer's are like, all right, I just need to get 2 outs in the first inning now. So it's an automatic out. 140, pitchers are like, I deserve at bats more than this guy does at this point. I like Suarez, I really do, but my goodness. Dean McDonald on Facebook says, I might as well have kept Billy Hamilton. That's what I mentioned earlier, Dean. I said the same thing. I'm like, it's interesting. Billy Hamilton was hitting 220 or a little under 220, and the Reds let him go because they said you can't have a leadoff hitter hitting 220. And like I've said, Eugenio Suarez is horrible defensively. He's not as good on the base paths as Billy Hamilton. And if you're going to be hitting 148, I don't care what he's done the last couple seasons. If you're hitting 148 a month and a half, almost 2 months into the season, you're not good. At least you're not good this season. And the fact that the Reds are rewarding Suarez by putting him in the leadoff spot, the same spot that you cut Billy Hamilton from just 2 years ago because he was hitting under 220 and he was at least good defensively in center field and he was at least a menace on the base paths. He brought more to the table than what Billy Hamilton in his last year with the Reds brought more to the Reds than what Eugenio Suarez is bringing to the Reds this year. Not saying Billy Hamilton's better than Eugenio Suarez, but this is kind of crazy to me if you ask me. So we'll see if the slump continues, but I'm definitely taking the under. He will not get a hit tonight against Max Scherzer and the Nationals. That was Kev Nash's over-under, hour 3. We headed there. We'll get into this conversation coming up around the break. Julio Jones. Well, there's only a few teams who are in position to potentially grab Julio Jones on this list. The Bengals and the Browns and the Ravens are all on it. But what's the likelihood of him ending up in the AFC North? And what's the likelihood of him ending up on, well, one of our rosters on the teams that we follow? We'll be back in a moment. Hour 3 next.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Hi, Greg McAfee here from McAfee Heating and Air Conditioning. Just a friendly reminder for you to remember those who have served and paid the ultimate price for our freedoms this Memorial Day. Take the time to thank a veteran or any armed forces member and have a great weekend.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
John, Clay's Cleaning Service has a spotless reputation.
Take care of the windows. Hello, this is Clay.
But his business operations could use a light dusting.
I had you scheduled for next week. I'll just check here. No, absolutely. We will be there tomorrow.
Indeed can help him hire the people he needs.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, I'm Sales Manager Jason High at Germain Honda Beaver Creek, proud recipient of the prestigious President's Award. We are your local Honda dealer, and we invite you to see our newly renovated state-of-the-art facility. You'll be amazed at our selection, and remember, all new Hondas come with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Visit us at Route 35, just east of 675, conveniently located near Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way. I'll see you soon.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
There's been a lot of talk about the chicken sandwich wars lately, but only Lee's Chicken Sandwich is made famous. At Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, homestyle happens here with our chicken sandwich combo for only $5.99. You'll get a fresh, never frozen chicken breast in your choice of famous recipe or spicy, topped with chipotle ranch and pickles on a brioche bun, all served with a regular side and drink. Get a taste of fame with our chicken sandwich combo for only $5.99. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider and are only available if the provider determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. You pay just $30 for a month's supply. And right now, get your first online doctor's visit totally free. 4hims.com/radio. That's right, free. Zero copay, no expensive appointments, no awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. Hims connects you to doctors online who can evaluate you and, if appropriate, prescribe your ED medication. And a pharmacy sends it right to your door. Hims makes it affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to Hims, nobody has to. And that's really good news. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
It's Mattress Firm's best Memorial Day sale ever. For a limited time, save up to $500 on top-rated mattress brands like Sealy and Sleepy's.
Life hacks. What would life be without them? Like using candle wax to loosen a stuck zipper. Here's another life hack. Now you can get the same high-quality insurance from Allstate, but at a new low rate. With Allstate, you can lower your rates, not your expectations. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Not available in every state. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Today, I'm going to surprise my girlfriend of 5 years with something great for her birthday. A scented candle. I'm talking a good scent, like lavender. Not something lame like pine. I've been building this gift up too, telling her it was going to be something special. She made a joke about me knowing her ring size, and I played it off like she was on the right track. I even mentioned that her parents were fully on board with the one I picked out. She's going to be so surprised to get this candle.
Maybe clueless boyfriends just need a Snickers. Snickers satisfies.
O'Reilly. Don't miss out on Clean Car Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. If your car could use a spring cleaning, stop by for great deals on everything you need to keep your car looking new. Like Mother's California Gold Wash and Wax, just $4.99 for a 64-ounce bottle. That's a $6 savings. Visit the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts today or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's time to thrive outside. Spending time outside, like at an Ohio State park, is a natural way to boost your mental health. Just 15 minutes in nature can restore you. The parks are for everyone to enjoy. Visit detourtrails.ohiodnr.gov to connect to a trail near you. Need more help? Call the Ohio Care Line at 1-800-720-9616 for free emotional support. Sponsored by the Ohio Departments of Natural Resources and Mental Health and Addiction Services. Aired by the OAB and this station.
Josh, very excited to learn that you're bringing the success of the Cable Academy to the Dayton market at the newly renovated hub. Can you tell me more?
Absolutely. Cable Academy is a full-time 12-week or part-time 24-week program that allows students to learn tech support, cybersecurity, or web development. Students can take the course both live or virtual, and all students are assigned to a professional job assistance coach.
Can students be ready in 12 weeks?
Yes, this is 600 hours of rigorous learning that allows students that don't have 2 or 4 years to learn, but have a passion for IT.
What about financing?
Well, we work with every student on options from grants, workforce development dollars to scholarships. Even better, 80% of our students qualify for our no job, no pay program. You don't get a job, you don't pay. This allows everyone to be aligned.
All right. How can people learn more or sign up?
It's very simple. Next classes start June 28th. Go to cableacademy.com. That's cable with a K. Click apply, and an admissions coach will reach out to answer all your questions. That's cableacademy.com. Cable Academy. Changing lives, one student at a time.
Cable Academy is coming to the hub. Classes start June 28th.
In a world full of things you never thought possible, here's one more. Now you can get high-quality auto insurance from Allstate at a new low rate. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
All right, we're back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. The Reds are at the Nationals. They're at Nationals Park tonight, game one of a three-game series with the Nationals, all at Nationals Park. Your lineup, we just talked about it. Very interesting lineup at that. Eugenio Suarez, who is hitting, of course, 148 on the season. David Bell said, you know what, this might be a way to kind of wake him up a little bit. He puts him in the leadoff spot. Real quick, we'll run down your order. You don't have to hit the if you feel like hitting the baseball music to baseball it up, more power to you, Kev. Eugenio Suarez will bat first, and he'll get the start at third base back in his original position. So, except for in the order, of course. But he'll lead off and bat first and get the start at third base. In left field, batting second is Jesse Winker. In right field and batting third is Nick Castellanos. Tyler Naquin, he'll get the start in center field as well as the cleanup spot. He'll bat fourth. Tyler Stevenson, he'll be at first base. Of course, the backup catcher now filling in at first base for the injured Joey Votto. He'll bat fifth and get the start at first. Behind home plate tonight and batting sixth is Tucker Barnhart. At shortstop, batting seventh, Kyle Farmer. Jonathan India, the rookie, he'll get the start at second base tonight. He'll bat eighth, and batting ninth, the pitcher, Tyler Mahle, will look to get the Reds back on track. They got swept by the Giants in 4. They dropped 2 of 3 against division rival, the Milwaukee Brewers, over the weekend. They dropped 2 of 3 against them. They have to figure out a way to get things going against Washington, mainly because the Reds avoided a big pitfall. I said by the time we got back to the show, yesterday, I said, The Reds were 5.5 back heading into game one with the Brewers. Now, they beat the Brewers in game one. They lost their next two. They were 5.5 back yesterday. In fact, they made up a half a game yesterday without even playing. So if the Reds weathered that storm, because my fear is after getting swept by the Giants and, I anticipated dropping 2 or 3 to the Brewers, I was like, man, they could be 5.5. They could be, 7-8 games back by the time it's all said and done. They're 20-25. As I preached many times on this show, I don't care about your record. I care about how many games back you are. The Reds weathered that storm. They are only 5 games back in the NL Central right now. The Cardinals have lost back-to-back games, so that's kind of the Reds have to count on chaos because their season's going to be chaos. They're going to win a lot of games. They're going to lose a lot of games, and it's going to be an emotional roller coaster for Reds fans all summer long. But the one thing that you have to count on, the Reds are going to need some luck, and that luck is going to be chaos, and that chaos is going to be, the fate of those other teams, the Cardinals, the Cubs, and the Brewers all ahead of them. That's what made that series with the Brewers so tough, is if the Reds were able to sneak out a win on Sunday, they would have been 4 games back, and they would have been 4 games under 500 as opposed to 5 at this point. I always preach the importance of paying attention to how many games back you are. 5 games back in the NL Central. I know it sounds crazy to start taking a look at the wild card, but here's where it gets dicey, Kev. They're 7 games back of the wild card right now. They have to count on, they are closer to striking distance of winning their division than they are of making it in the wild card. And I don't like their chances of making the wild card this year. I just don't. That's how crazy scary it's going to be. It's going to have to be winning this division or else. I don't see them making the wild card because right now you have 3 teams in front of you who are really good, but they also have enough flaws that are going to make them catchable in the division. I think it's going to be really tough for them to make a run to get to the wild card, even though everyone anticipates that if they make the playoffs, that's where it's going to be. But the Reds are 7 games back. The Nationals are 6 games back of the wild card. They're in front of the Reds, as are the Phillies, as are the Braves, as are the Marlins. And then there's the Brewers. The Brewers, who the Reds just had, they're 4 games back of the wild card, and the Cubs are 3.5 games back. The Reds are 5 back of their division. That's going to have to be their focus as we head into the final stretches here into the meat of summer, I should say, as June is just over a week away. Next week is June already.
Man.
My thing is this. The Reds have had ups and downs already 2 months in, Kev. If they can get to within 3, heading into June, even if they're at 5, they're still okay. But man, if they can get within 3 heading into June, that's huge. That's huge, and that's the magic number for me is 3. The Reds need to get to within 3 heading into June for me to feel good like this team still has enough there, because they do. They're doing all this without Eugenio Suarez, without Joey Votto, without Mike Moustakas. They start to get healthier and Suarez starts swinging a better bat, then I'll feel better about where this team is going. But all things considered, considering the flaws that they've had, they don't even have Michael Lorenzen right now either. They have a lot of guys out, and they're still within striking distance. Get this to within 3 heading into June, and I'll feel a lot better about the Reds situation, because I'm always living in the now, and my negativity takes over at times. I know, shocker, right? Weird. I'm all about the Reds. If they can cut it to within 3 of the division heading into June, I'll feel pretty good about where they're at.
And also something everybody got to think about, you and I are always on the same wavelength about warm weather. When the weather's warm, bats start to wake up. So you're expecting the Braves to start to make a push, and they're already ahead of you right now. So the Braves are going to get that lead expanded potentially now that the weather's warming up. So it's so important that you were talking about early in the season to get out to a hot start. Because, if you get out to a hot start now, you leave yourself a little bumper room when other teams start to pick it up hitting-wise. So it's danger zone time for the Reds. It's like, hey, man, let's keep pace, because if you get too far back, it'll turn into, like you said, wild card is off the table, because there's so many teams fighting for those wild card spots that the division will be your only play. You don't want that to be the only play for you to be able to get into the postseason. You want to be in play for the wild card and the AL Central and everything like that. So you want to have 2 on the table as opposed to 1. So tonight's matchup is very critical. This series is critical. Yeah,
David Bell, by the way, when asked about moving Eugenio Suarez to the leadoff spot, he said straight up they are just doing anything that they can to help him. I don't know. I will say this about David Bell. If you think about any boss you've had, if you've ever had a rough stretch in your job, I'm the first to rip David Bell. I need to hand it to David Bell on this, actually, because I know I'm pretty fired up about the fact that, Billy Hamilton, we ran him out of Cincinnati because he wasn't good enough, but these numbers are worse than his, and we're putting him in leadoff. What I do love about David Bell is doing what we all hope our bosses would do for us if we're ever in a pinch, if we're ever going through a rough stage, right? Like bosses are so quick to cut the cord with everybody and to just fire you and find someone else because they don't want to babysit. Bosses don't want to babysit you. They want to know that you could do the job effectively, and if not, they'll find someone who will. And sometimes they're a little quick triggered when it comes to moving on. I give David Bell a lot of credit because David Bell is I believe him when he says that. I'm very critical, but I'm going to take a step back on this and say, you know what? Good for David Bell for at least continuing to. I think the one thing about baseball is it's so mental and it's a confidence game. And that's the best thing David Bell can do for Eugenio Suarez is continuing to reassure him that they have not lost confidence in him. But there comes a certain point where how many games of low numbers do you have to be in before a slump is just considered a bad year? Because we've been doing this all month. I remember heading into May, everyone's like, oh, it was a tough April, but look for him to have a breakout May. Now we're heading into June. So kudos to David Bell for being as patient as he can. The best way to help a player who's struggling at the plate confidence-wise is to show that they still have confidence in you, and hopefully this works. I still say he doesn't get a hit tonight, but man, if he does, I'll be all about praising David Bell tomorrow. But I think the Reds right now, they know their best shot at really making a run in the division, Eugenio Suarez catching fire, because Winker and Castellanos, if they keep this pace up, it'll be those two battling it out for MVP. That's how crazy of a season this has been so far for the Reds, is they haven't been able to capitalize on the bats of those two. And, man, they're hitting the sun out of the ball. I mean, that's what's crazy.
2 big hits tonight. 2 big
You're saying
hits.
2? All right, I feel it. As we're stepping away for a few minutes, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Dayton Flyers fans, how about this, the Red Scare? Joey Gruden leading the way for the Red Scare. They made a couple roster additions. We all know about Trey Landers, Devin Oliver, Ryan Mikesell, Kyle Davis, and Daryl Davis, and Kendall Pollard, but they added Brandon Spearman, Devin Scott, and Trevor Thompson to the Red Scare roster. Seth Greenberg covers college basketball for ESPN. He's super pumped about this Red Scare roster right now, saying that this squad could be playing a Final Four home game at UD Arena for the TBT tournament coming up this summer. I cannot wait. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash when we come back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 90. Tonight's also going to be partly cloudy, a low near 68. And tomorrow is going to be mostly cloudy with showers and thunderstorms, a high near 82. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. Find out why 98% of their customers would recommend them to friends and family. Find out more at culletpropane.com.
I'm Dr. Baker, an ER physician. If you're having leg pain, swelling, or redness, but haven't talked to your doctor yet, don't wait. This could be deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot which could travel to your lungs and lead to a pulmonary embolism, which could cause chest pain or discomfort or difficulty breathing and be deadly. Your symptoms could mean something serious, so don't wait. Talk to a doctor right away, by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
You're still running your business on QuickBooks? QuickBooks? More like quicksand. The bigger your company grows, the faster you sync with outdated software that just can't keep up. You don't have time to spend dealing with manual processes, multiple systems, delays, and scrambling to get the numbers you need. It's time to get on solid ground. NetSuite by Oracle, the scalable solution to run all of your key back office operations, no matter how big your company grows. NetSuite gives you visibility and control over your financials, inventory, HR, e-commerce, and more. Everything you need to grow all in one place. NetSuite helps you automate your key business processes and close your books in a fraction of the time. Think days, not weeks. In fact, 93% of surveyed organizations increased their visibility and control of their business since making the switch from QuickBooks to NetSuite. Right now, NetSuite is offering a one-of-a